If you want to learn how we generate over $1.8 million through TikTok, organic, shop, and paid ads, then stick around because it's going to be the most insightful video on TikTok that you've probably ever watched, because we're actually going to go through the whole entire process of making the creative, to editing it, publishing a campaign, and showing you the ad results. So before we get into it, we're going to go and actually shoot the ad together with us in this video. I want to just highlight a few things that you can expect from this video. I've just written them down here in front of me. So here's the plan. We're going to share our creative approach and how we actually make creative so you can make profitable ads as well. We're going to show you a bit behind the scenes of the recording process and how to actually make these ads in real time. You don't need any fancy equipment for it. We're also going to discuss insights into why we're recording the ads and how we're actually producing them to help you run more profitable ads. We're going to show you how to edit the ads as well and show you the whole process of how we do that. We're also going to be showing you how to set up an entire TikTok ad campaign from scratch with the creatives that are edited from this video. We're also going to check and optimize them and show you when to actually optimize and scale the ads. And then the most important part, the results. So without further ado, let's get right in the video and go show you how we approach our creative process for generating high profit ads on TikTok. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab the camera here. I'm going to have my assistant, my marketing director, actually help with this process. So we're going to head downstairs, and for this particular ad, we're actually going to be filming it outside. So we're going to talk a little bit about the ad creative process and who we're trying to target. It's a little bit dark in here. Apologize for that, guys. Turn some lights on here. There we go. But we're going to be recording outside for a particular reason for the audience that we're trying to reach at the moment. So I've got a few bullet points here on my phone that I'm going to kind of be using to help us kind of go through this. So the first thing that I really want to address with you guys is you have to know when you're creating ads, you have to know who you're trying to target, okay? So we're going to have Andrew here. Say what's up.
What's that? Got to get into some pretty cool creatives here.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
It's really as easy as it looks. It's not that fancy, you know. Obviously a little bit of experience, a little bit of expertise. What do they say? Je ne sais quoi? But it's really easy. Everybody can do this, genuinely.
Yeah,
especially with Jordan's training.
100%. So we're going to have, he's just going to set up a couple of things and talk you through the process. But it's really important when you're creating ads, you have to know who you're talking to. So when you are creating advertising, you want to be able to resonate with the people that you're talking to. And oftentimes you need to be able to talk in the verbiage and speak in a way that they understand that you get them. The more you can do that, the better results that you're going to get. So we're having Andrew here kind of set up the camera. And Andrew, do you want to talk to us a little bit about how you're actually doing this and like what you're trying to set up at the moment?
Yeah. So essentially, there's kind of like a ongoing joke in the gaming community, which is the audience we're marketing to. And as Jordan mentioned, aligning with that audience is very key. And sometimes you can almost be provocative in a way and stir controversy to get that type of engagement and to, you know, generate that curiosity. So one of the things we're doing here is we've come outside and we're entertaining the Go Touch Grass line, basically insinuating that we never go outside because that's the, you know, the life of a gamer. But yeah, we're going to get a real simple, organic, or authentic looking shot filmed right on the iPhone of us outside with the product in an unfamiliar environment. So already there, showing off that product and starting this way is going to be pretty funny. But we've got 3 different variations of the product to shoot. So that we have hook variations we can test and put different spend on and really see what it does.
Yeah, so that's a really good explanation of like how we look at our creatives. If I turn the camera around here. So what we're really trying to do is we want to be able to create a hook that is actually going to catch people's attention. So that's kind of what we're setting up outside, as Andrew kind of explained. And so he's going to be kind of running the camera over here. I'm setting it up outside and we're going to kind of get into it. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to record and share with you guys too is something that we went over in a previous video called the Creative X Formula. So typically, we'll just kind of give you the short answer of this. If you haven't checked out our ad creative guide, it's like an hour and 20-minute long video breaking down everything about ad creative. You want to kind of look at your ads in 3 main parts. So one is your attraction anchor. This is the thing that's going to get their attention. As Andrew said, we're outside, and gamers, they don't usually get outside that much. And we're making a joke on touching grass, right, to get their attention, because there's a lot of conversation and controversy around that topic, and that's how we're gauging their attention first. The second part we call the value voyager. This is really where you either demonstrate your product or just discuss why they should be interested, and this can be either pain point focused, it could be product feature benefit focused, it could be problem aware, solution aware. You really want to pick something that you can really dive into for your audience. And then in the last portion of it is the CTA, right? So you're getting them to take action. It's the thing that is going to allow them to either go to shop or they're going to take a certain action. Typically, when you're running advertising, you want to obviously send them to your website. So we're going to have a CTA to the website. So that's the really basic concept of how we're structuring this. And what we want to do is we just want to be able to talk in a way that our customers will understand us and speak in a way that we are kind of connecting and resonating with the customers, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. So that's kind of the Creative X formula. One other thing I wanted to touch on here before we actually show you guys the recording and how to actually execute it is we want to kind of make sure that we're not being super long-winded in our short form content. We want to be quick. We want to keep the pace fast. We want to add entertainment into that content because ultimately that's going to keep people much more engaged. And when it comes to short form content, as you guys know, attention spans are really, really bad. So we want to be able to keep the pacing fast and keep their attention. Now, before we jump into it, let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Really last thing is, guys, the boring part is knowing about your customer. And most people, they'll skip over this part and not really dive into their fears, their desires, their dreams, their hopes, and really figure out what gets people's attention. The more that you understand your customer, the deeper you go, the more that your message can connect, the more that people are going to take action based off your ad and video. So with that being said, now what we're going to do is transition to the actual filming of the ad, and we're going to talk through what we're doing and really just show you raw that we don't film these perfectly, right? Which is the exact reason of filming this video this way, is because we want you guys to see that we're not perfect, right? We're doing this in a way that we can showcase to you guys that you don't have to be this high production. You don't need to be an expert at filming content, or even if you stumble over your words, it's okay to do that, okay? So let's move to that segment now. I think I'm going to grab the camera back off you, Andrew, and we're going to actually send it live.
Right after I fix my
Yep.
glasses because the wind had my eyes watering.
It's actually pretty windy out here today, isn't it?
Yeah, and even though we're in Tennessee, the weather's been quite the roller coaster. We went from it was 78 the other day,
Right.
mint, to now 50s with the wind chill probably making it feel like New England.
It is pretty cold right now, yeah.
We're going to send
Okay.
it. So yeah,
Shot.
super brief contact. Yeah, simple shot, vertical format. You could choose to do the 16:9 layout and then, center it that way. We get better quality organically by just shooting it vertical. It's simple. This is what we know we're using it for. And in this case, we have 3 different controllers. It's going to be the same hook intro. So we're really just testing what controller grabs the attention the best in that hook. So that's what we're doing for this one. So typically we would have, hooks, main content, CTAs written out ahead of time. I've been recording these ads a very long time, and we've already found the winning creative that we're going to be making iterations of. So we're going to send it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So let's show them kind of what the products are. And I mean, you're just going to,
Normally.
let's have a look at what products we're going to use, showcase.
So these are the 2 variations. So in the beginning here, I'll be showing off the specific features of the controller that, provide that competitive advantage and make them better than the other companies out there. The main hook feature is going to be grabbing their attention through the design, obviously. So testing the different looks, the different colors that make up these custom controllers. And we'll even be showing it off in the actual case that they receive it in, which is another really big value proposition that this brand brings. So yeah, pretty cool setup.
Awesome. And yeah, guys, this brand right here, this is the brand that I built to over $8 million in sales. This is the marketing that we do for the brand. So this is something we're actively doing. There's my name on it. This is something we're actively doing, and we're constantly staying in the know about how to actually run successful ads that are generating 5, 6, 7, 8 ROAS.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Insane. All right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna sit behind the camera here, guys, and kind of showcase to you in raw format as Andrew goes to hit record. So don't overthink it. Just hit record, and Andrew's just gonna literally go up and stand there and just kind of talk through his structure.
Good to go.
Good to go.
All right. So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass, so we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time since I've been outside here, but yeah, it's, I prefer to be inside on this controller. And as crazy as it may sound, there's a reason behind the cabin fever I've developed in sitting indoors the last 3 weeks, playing Modern Warfare 3, trying to get my rank up. But it's all because of this controller. And I wanted to show you guys because it's really made a difference in the way I've been playing lately. And I got to customize it exactly the way I wanted. So without having this thing blow away in the wind, I just wanted to show off first and foremost how absolutely incredible this packaging is. I mean, they literally send you a card with your name on it. I've already opened this, so I've seen the card they left me, but it shows the whole team, and it's got a signature from the controller technician that built this. That in itself was cool to me. It made me feel special. You know what I mean? I'm not used to getting stuff like this when I order custom controllers. So, secondly, inside of the case just looks insane. You open up this magnetic lid, and it is the most beautiful design, motivational quote to get me hype on and do some drop shots. But then we have this zippered travel case that's molded to the controller, and obviously, you know, the controller itself stands out. I pride myself on the design I picked here, but we have the Big Benjamin, as I say, PS5 controller with the gold chrome accents. Absolutely insane. Now there's no shapes and, like, you know, symbols on the buttons. I got them completely smoothed over with the gold chrome, and, you know, as I said, the design just stands out. We got the interchangeable thumbsticks on here with the gold underneath, and that's another incredible feature if you want to change thumbstick height. But the thing that really stands out to me, besides these, like, you know, flashy mods and like cool things you can customize, this is a good example for behind the scenes of how we make quick cuts, because I can't get this thumbstick back on. You don't have to get it all in one take, yeah, that's for sure. The last one I did, I actually got it back on first try. There we go. So now I'll just pick right back up from here. Yeah. But besides the flashy stuff, the thing that sticks out and really made the biggest difference for me was these mouse click triggers. They are not like a trigger stop. They're not like, you know, the weird adjustability you have. This is what they put inside a mouse. So it's the same technology as, you know, a regular gaming computer mouse, but they put it in not just your triggers, not just your bumpers. They've even added them to the face button. So if you're like me and you play claw and you don't opt to put the back buttons on, you still have that insane response time on the face buttons. And that's the thing that really stood out to me. So if you guys are interested in checking something out like this, I'm not going to be seeing grass anytime soon. So now's your chance to get a look and try them out yourself. You can head to GameNetics.com. Check out the designer and the builder that they made on the website, because you can customize every single button. You can pick whatever you want. This is what I chose. But if you want to match something else that you really like, you can do that. So head to GameNetics.com, check out the builder, and build either a PS5 or Xbox controller.
Ooh, nice.
So that's ad number one. And as Jordan said, like, some of it was a little long-winded, but really it's just to offer those variations of like different things you want to touch and test on. So we'll cut that up in some shortcuts, and now we'll just test some look variations.
Yeah, awesome. So one thing that I want to talk about here with you guys is, like, you know, you'll notice that Andrew, he talked for, you know, a few minutes. Now, what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be basically able to take that footage that we've now captured and cut it up into other pieces of content. So oftentimes what you can do is you can create a piece of content and record for a couple of minutes and then cut it up in post to create multiple different ads. And most people, when they think about creative, they're thinking a lot about, oh, well, I need to make like 5 completely different creatives. It's like, no, you don't. You only need to have different things that you say in the creative that can separate it and make it different. Now, you want to do a little bit more variation than just changing like background music or, you know, a font, right? You want to actually make the hook different. And that's what we're going to kind of do here when we're recording multiple different types of ads, especially when you have different talent behind the camera. So I'm going to also get behind the camera here and do a demonstration to you guys on how to actually execute a video like this in my own way, my own style, to show you guys that this is what we do and this is how we've learned how to make ads. So yeah, I'm going to hand off the camera to Andrew here real quick, and we're going to go through this same process, really, right? Right. Different controlling. Yep. Okay. So typically when I'm recording my ads, with this one specifically, what we've learned over the course, and this is really important to point out here. What you'll find is the more you make ads, the more you're able to understand how to iterate on each individual ad. So each time you run an ad, you're going to learn better on how to make it better the next time. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to outcompete your best result. And so over the course of the last 24 months, 24 months, we've been able to refine our creative to the point where we can stand here on camera, make a creative, and feel confident that we'll be able to generate good ROAS, right? And so a lot of the concepts that we're talking about in this video and showcasing with you guys, this is actually what works. Like, this is the same methodology that we use for our brand to help us be successful. Now, you're not going to be able to use the exact same approach that we use, like touching grass, right, for your brand. And so that's why I mentioned earlier, it's so important that you do a deep dive on your customer persona. If you don't understand your customer, you're not going to be able to understand that touching grass is something that in the community is talked about, right? And also the verbiage. You notice the way Andrew spoke to the audience, it was very different than maybe what you'd speak to, say, a middle-aged mom with kids. Yeah. So you need to understand that. It's very, very fundamental. So whether you're the one recording the ads, you have a family member, friend recording the ads, or UGC creators, they have to really get the audience they're speaking to, and that will help you to generate higher return on your ads. One last thing before I record is, it's so important just to be authentic. Like, that's the one thing that I'm trying to do with all my content, not just for these YouTube content, but like just on my social media. Like, I just want to be a real, genuine person that people can relate to, right? And so being a real person, you're not perfect. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share some of your flaws because we all have them. And most people on social media, they like to portray themselves in a way where they don't have those things. And that will hurt you with your advertising and marketing, both with your ads that you're recording or your organic content. So just be real, be authentic, and just be a little bit more open with the people that you speak to, and you'll find you'll get better results. So that's what we've done with Gamenetics. That's how we've grown and generated over 1 billion views in total from all of our socials. So it's pretty crazy. All right, so let me just think here real quick where I get set for my ad. Okay, ready to go. Let's hit record. A little chilly here.
It is chilly. Hopefully the camera stays stable.
Long pants. All right. Guys, if you are looking... No, I don't want to start like that. That's too, like... It's too strong. So you can see here, I'm sitting around, I'm thinking about what to say. Again, you might be a bit more planned than what I'm doing. I'm trying to be a bit more impromptu just to show you the rawness of this experience with you guys. Let's see.
Yeah, I was the one scheduled to shoot them today, so you put on the spot a little here. But it really can be that easy, you know? Like, yeah.
Brand new product, you can do these pretty naturally.
Yep.
And try different angles. Everyone's been talking about these mouse clickables. And I'm out here touching grass because I don't think I've been outside in almost 30 days. And you can probably tell why, or the proof of that is my skin is literally translucent. So with that being said, if you guys have not seen the Gamenetics controller, you are completely missing out. Now, ever since I started using a Gamenetics controller, it allowed me to improve my skill level without really getting any better because it has these things called mouse click triggers. And everyone's been talking about this mouse clickables and like, what the heck is that? So with Gamenetics, you get a custom box that's all like it's basically a hard case. It's pretty hard, right? And then you also get a personalized card. So they actually handwrite their name on every card. And inside, you get a note directly from the Gamenetics team with the person who signed, like actually like made your control. They sign this card and they send it in every order. Now, what's really cool about this is that inside, you'll also find, if I can get it open, another box. So inside of this, it's not actually really a box, it's like a case, right? So inside this case, what you'll find is a beautiful custom controller. So this is one that I customized with the Gamenetics builder. You can see that I got some really nice rubber back grips for sweaty hands. And I also got this really sick, like gray design. Let me show you guys a little bit closer there. You'll be able to see that. And this controller, I swear, has helped me improve my KD like in a crazy amount. So if you guys want to improve your KD without necessarily improving your skill, this will give you the competitive advantage that you need to outbeat your competition. And I just love it. Like the sound of these mouse clicks just sound absolutely incredible. So go ahead and pick yours up at Gamenetics.com. Go and customize something that you can basically personalize exactly the way you want it. And you can create a one-on-one controller with the amount of customization options they have. So go to Gamenetics.com, build your own, pick it up, and take out your enemies.
Boom.
A little sloppy, but
No, that was solid.
I feel like we got the message across. You know, like that's the thing is like, you know, we could do another few takes and we're not going to like do 5 takes with you guys in this video, but you have to understand that it doesn't need to be professional and fine-tuned. Now, there may be some particular cases where you may need to be very particular about what you say, depending on the industry that you're in, right? If you're in the luxury brand space, like maybe an authentic approach could be the turning the industry inside out, right? And being just real and authentic. So this is a little bit of the creative process. And I guess like from here, what we're going to do is basically take the footage that we've recorded and then cut it up. And we're actually going to have you run through, we're going to show you like the editing process of how we actually put all this together. So Andrew's going to record like a recording of his screen, actually getting the video, giving you guys a full breakdown of using what programs to use, how to do it, and how to craft them in a way that's actually going to generate conversions, because this is only the first part. You can't just take this raw footage that you've just recorded and run it as an ad, because it's not going to work. There's some particular things you want to do that will actually help it convert better. So hopefully you guys so far are appreciating the you know, rawness of this video. Hopefully it's, you know, I mean, this is just shot in the dark. Hopefully this is helpful. Yeah, that's my new car. It's been
lots of behind the scenes of that. Yeah, they could be seeing too.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, guys, like this is what we do. We've filmed videos out here on the grass before. It's not just about the car, even though the car's, I love it. It's amazing. But we really have recorded videos out here using touching grass as like our hook, and it's worked well for us. So we're going to go use that hook again.
Yeah, we'll actually run this and
yeah,
show
we'll
them.
actually run this as an ad. So if you guys are liking the video so far, leave a like, leave a comment, anything else, any other questions you've had so far, we'll get answer them, or we're going to make a video on them again. But yeah, let's head inside and we'll edit the video together. Let's do it.
Boom.
All right, guys, how's it going? So we're going to get right into the actual editing of the videos now. We've gone ahead and put our phone in focus mode with the sound turned off. We have our energy drink of choice here to lock in and focus on getting these creatives done. So I've already gone ahead and uploaded the footage to our Google Drive, and I've downloaded them from here to get them on the computer. Very simple setup. You know, you can download the Drive app on your phone, upload them directly from there, then log in on your desktop and download the videos from there. So we're going to start with the one I recorded, and then I've got CapCut open here. The reason we use CapCut is because primarily in my experience in, you know, editing with After Effects and Sony Vegas in the last, I think it's been 12 years now, CapCut when it came out was so much more optimized for speed and efficiency in comparison to those other programs, not just in the workflow and the hotkeys and the ease of access to create text that's native to the platforms we promote on, but also just the rendering time and how quick and easy it is to get a piece of content done. So we've gone ahead and got CapCut downloaded to this PC, excuse me, and we're going to drag the creatives in here. So I'm going to go into my downloads where I've got the footage here, and we're going to drag this first video right into the timeline. Click, hold, and drag. I have a pop-up here in the second window. Problem. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to scrub through, and you can kind of look at the audio tracks here along the clip. It'll show the kind of sound waves in a way to see where the video kind of begins. So I can scrub through and just see where the loud noise is, and I can hit my space bar to play back and preview here just to confirm.
Good to go.
All right. So boom. So right here. So what I'm doing is I'm holding control and I'm scrolling up on my scroll wheel to zoom in here. And then I can click and drag this timeline marker that shows where we're previewing the video on the timeline in our preview window here that I'm circling with my mouse. I'm going to move my camera over right here. See the preview right here where it says player right in this section? And when we click and drag this timeline indicator, it's going to show us the point in the video that we're hovering over. So based upon the sound waves, based upon me using the spacebar, hitting play. So everybody, and then hitting it again to stop it, I can see where the content starts and where I want to cut this clip. So what I do is I, get the indicator right here where I want it. I hold control and then I hit V. And that's a Windows command. You'd have to reference whatever your controller placement would be for a Mac, but you can also use the buttons here at the top. I've just been very familiar with the platform, so I prefer the hotkeys now for efficiency, but you can click the split button right here or hover over it and it'll show you that hotkey. So once I've split the clip where I want it, I'm going to click on the beginning piece I don't want anymore, and I'm just going to hit delete. Remove that section there. And what you'll see is when I hit delete, the clip moves from its earlier position and then snaps back to the beginning of the timeline. That's because on the right side here, you'll see the track magnet is turned on. So if any time you want to remove a segment here and cut it, and then you want to replace something in between, if that track magnet's still on, it's going to snap whatever you've cut. Like if I drag here, see how everything's attached, I let go, moves it all to the left. If I want to leave that gap there, I turn off the track magnet, drag it to the right, and it'll stay there now. So I prefer the track magnet in most cases, unless I'm trying to insert some B-roll or some other clips, then I'll turn that off. But for now, we'll leave it, and I'll keep this as one piece here. Before I really dive too far into cutting up the video and getting into, the techniques that'll keep it engaging, I want to take a look at the footage and what this looks like. So I can click on the bounds of the player in preview window here, click and hold and drag down, and it's going to make it bigger. So everybody kind of has preference in a way on how you want to color code and correct things. But, typically speaking, the brighter, the more exuberant and saturated colors with, you know, tastefulness, the better. It's going to work better on social media. It's going to look better. Everything's going to appear a lot cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead, while selected and highlighted on the clip that's in our timeline, I'm going to go to adjustment right here. Now, you could go one of two ways with this. You could download a couple LUTs. You could search online. You can find packs and you can download them. And that'll apply a kind of prearranged look to your video. And then you can adjust the intensity on a slider here. You can also custom adjust this by scrolling down a little here and mess with the temperature, tint, saturation, and then mess with the exposure and the contrast. The latter is choosing a filter on the top left and these sub tabs here and going through the ones that CapCut has pre-made, very similar to a LUT or very similar to the filters you'd experience on Instagram or TikTok. However, I find with these, it really depends on the scenario. There are a lot to choose from, but sometimes you can kind of mess with the quality of the footage. So I like to stick with the LUTs that I'm familiar with and the ones that I've used before. If I put one on at all, sometimes I'll just mess with the simple stuff here. But what I'll usually do is I'll just go into my LUTs. I'm used to prime or base here, and you'll see they're very strong when I first put them on. But then you grab this intensity bar, click and hold, and you can drag to adjust it. So I kind of find like a nice little compromise in the middle here where it adds a little bit of a nice, not cinematic look in a way because we still want it to be organic, but gives a little bit of tastefulness to it there. So from there, if I feel the clip's a little overexposed, I could turn it down just a hair on the exposure. And if I want to increase the blacks in the image, I can turn that up a hair as well on contrast. And all I'm doing is just clicking and holding, moving my mouse in a direction, whether it be negative or positive, to subtract or increase the values. So that's what we've done there. Just kind of quick look at the footage, see what it looks like, scrub through your timeline, make sure that it's going to look good in all points. You know, maybe the daylight changes, maybe the lighting changes, the camera auto adjusts with exposure, being that we just filmed on an iPhone, but everything looks pretty solid. We have a good frame and a base to start with, so we're going to go there. Now, if you've recorded bunch of content and maybe it's been a few days, you don't remember exactly what the hook is, or you didn't script it and you kind of went off the cuff like we did here, you know, we're very familiar with what we have for winning creatives, and in the years of data we've spent on the specific account that this, you know, creative is going to be run on, we know what works. So we went out, we filmed them off the cuff, we've done this, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play back the intro here, and then we're going to make a comment for the video to be replying to. And if you're not familiar with how some of the features work on TikTok, there's a feature called reply to comment with a video. And what that would mean is if, let's say on a video we posted before this, somebody commented, what the heck are mouse click triggers, right? What you could do on TikTok natively is go to that comment and then click on it. And instead of replying through text, you could reply with a video to answer them. So that's just another native feature that TikTok has, people are used to seeing, and we incorporate into our videos. Now, without that comment, one might ask, how would we go about doing this? Especially running as an ad. If it's not a Spark ad, that's an actual post, and we're just running it with some ad spend in the ad manager. There is no comment, there is no video for us to reply with. So we're going to go ahead and create the comment ourselves. And, you know, depending on how you want to go about things, this could be a commonly asked question, or it could be a question that you know people are probably curious about, or a lot of people are unfamiliar with, to educate them. And you can kind of spice it up in a way to, you know, enhance that question and get people to stop and look and be like, why the heck is this person asking this, right? So what I do, I go to talkcomment.com, TOK comment.com. You can just go to Google, type in TikTok reply comment generator, and it's going to pull up this super nice website here that allows you to create the comments without having to go into Photoshop or, you know, your graphic design app of choice, which I used to do, and make the comments. And as of lately, they've actually made or offered a bulk setting to where you can adjust all the settings, hit a new row, choose what pic you want, comment, and then you can download them all at once. In this case, we're just going to do the single. And with this new feature they've added as well, you can generate the profile picture. So you don't have to upload one yourself. You can actually just generate random. Now we want this to look as authentic as possible, right? A lot of these photos are just stock images in a way, and they kind of, you know, they don't feel as genuine. So we kind of just go through until we see one that may fit the type of comment that we're looking for. In our case, we want it to be somebody that may look like a gamer or somebody that, you know, is online or would be commenting on this. This one seems to fit the picture. And then we want to come up with a username that's going to align with, you know, the very similar values of this industry, being gaming. We'll come up with something funny. So we'll probably do drop shotted. And what this is referring to is a technique in Call of Duty that a lot of gamers do, where you drop down in a crouch position really fast to kind of throw off the enemy. So we're doing some funny text in here. Instead of an O, we did an X. In this case, we'll change this one to it as well. We'll just get rid of the E. So it looks like maybe the regular drop shotted username was taken. They had to adjust it and they thought the X's looked cool. Very genuine, very authentic, kind of just working through this whole system to make it appear organic. And then the comment being, based upon the research of winning creatives that we've done and comments that have worked the best in the past, is including that term mouse click is referring to the technology and the triggers of the custom controllers we're promoting. What I'm going to do is typically they'd be referred to as mouse clicks, right? So I'm going to put down, again, to reference the video, we're talking about touching grass, which is, another whole gamer term. We talked about understanding the audience. So we're just going to put down, you need to touch grass. Nobody cares about those mouse clickers. Now, as you heard, I referred to them as mouse clicks, but we're going to kind of trigger some people in the comments to being like, why the heck is he calling it mouse clickers? Something funny, right? So name that fits the theme, somebody that may look like it's in the industry, you could go ahead and upload your own photo if you needed to. And then a really funny, controversial, curiosity inducing comment. So once we have the comment made, all we got to do is go ahead and click download comment, and then the comment's downloaded. So we're going to go back to timeline into the CapCut project, go to our downloads, click and drag the comment in. And, naturally it's going to be very large. We want to resize this down to look like, it really fits here. We want to keep in mind the safe zones of what the video is going to look like on whatever platform you're running the ad. So on TikTok, you'll have, the different categories up top, friends, for you, STEM, shop, whatever it may be. On the bottom, there's going to be the username and the description, and you're going to have, the like, comment, share features on the right side. So right up here, kind of around the top left, usually works really well. It's not covering any of the content, and it's not going to be hidden by any of the overlays on the platform. So again, holding control, scrolling in, we're going to check out a little bit closer preview of the comment here. And then I'm just going to go through and kind of edit a little bit and show you guys the process here. And I'll explain any key features we get to. We'll probably cut up the video in a way to where, you guys are getting the stuff you really need to see here, but we'll probably show a little space here of what this process looks like and me knowing where I need to cut and where I need to shorten or zoom in. The main concept that we want to get across here is content like this on short form platforms must be engaging. That's the number one goal in keeping viewer retention, is to make sure that it's engaging. And we can accomplish that by doing quick cuts, not leaving on a single shot for too long, changing the focus range by, zooming in or cropping it in, which I'll show here. And then maybe we add some sound effects, maybe we do some funny things. We make sure that the music is potentially trending to the audience that's going to be viewing it, and then just kind of go from there. So I'll go along and cut up the parts that I need to. We're going to remove any dead air, any space where I'm not actually speaking, to make sure it's jam-packed with info, all while fitting the timeline of an engaging hook, main content, maybe about the product, depending on what the video is, and then a CTA driving them to where they can purchase said product. So we're going to go ahead and begin into that, and I'll explain any kind of key points from there that are relevant. So just clicking play or hitting the space button to begin here and listen. So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass, so we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. So there's the hook. So what I like to do when I zoom in and I do my cuts, I do them on words of emphasis. So playing back again. So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass. So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass. That's where I'm going to do it, right? That's my word of emphasis in this case. So we're going to play back again. Telling me to touch. Boom. Pause it. You can see the little audio waves here. Go back to that T. Click where we want it. Make sure the timeline indicator's lined up. Hold the control and hit B. Or go to your split button, whatever hotkey it would be on a Mac. Now we have it split here. So I'm going to go to end of where the next cut's going to be. Play this back again. So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass. So we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. Been telling me to touch grass. So we are here to put it to been telling me to touch grass. So we are. So there's a little bit of a space here and I'm kind of transitioning. Everybody's been telling me to touch grass, zoom in. So we are here, right? So it's kind of going on to the next point. I'm going to cut it again here. And the reason I cut it here rather than just going right into the zoom is once I zoom this, it zooms the whole rest of the timeline. So for efficiency, I cut at the end of where I want that to be. And now I still have the same scale and ratio here, right? So I go back to the clip I just cut and I want to put emphasis on. Click back on it to select it. Make sure we're under the video tab here on the top right. And then you'll see the scale under the transform section. And right now, native scale is 100%. We want to zoom it in a little. So you can click and drag this bar to the right and it's going to zoom it in, or to the left and it'll zoom it out. Or you can enter the custom value, or you can use the arrows right here up and down. So we're going to zoom it in a little. Don't want to do too much, and we also want to keep in mind the quality of the video. If we zoom too far, it loses some quality. There are counters to that. There's a little bit of upscaling we can do, removing image noise and stuff within the pro version of CapCut. But for now, we'll just keep it subtle. So we'll play it back again. The comments been telling me to touch grass, so we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. All right, so we are here to put it to the test and see what it. I'm gonna do the next one on C and see what it's all about. So cutting it again, Control B. See what it's all about. another gap there. So right before I begin talking, I'm cutting it once more so we keep that native scale. Then we're going to hover our timeline indicator. You can click anywhere in the gray area on the timeline to get back here. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to zoom in again, just like that. Clicking and dragging the adjustment. Now, the other thing I like doing, maybe it's OCD, maybe it's perfectionism, maybe it's tastefulness, experience. I don't know what it would be, right? But I like aligning my comment with a cut on a clip. So comment over extends here. We want to give them ample time to obviously read it, but we don't want to leave it on the whole video. So I'll play it back and just see what it looks like here.
So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass. So we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a
Boom. So we're going to extend it to the end of this clip here, and then it's cut. All right, now let's keep going and get the cuts done.
about. It's been a long time since I've been out.
So it's been a long time since I've been out. So we're going to zoom it in right here as I'm going to touch said grass. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in. And now, because we're zooming in, we may miss where my hand touches the grass, right? It might go off screen because it's zooming on a center axis. So all you have to do is hover over the video here, click with your mouse hold. You can drag it where you want. You're going to have snapping points for the, this would be X axis in terms of keeping it center, and then Y, bring it back to center. So all I'm doing here is just clicking and dragging up. Again, you can enter the custom values for your vertical, and you can enter your custom values for horizontal, as well as rotation, or you can use the arrows, same as you do with the scale. For me, I'm just clicking and dragging it. Pretty simple. So let's see where that kind of lines up.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've been outside here, but
So I want to put some funny emphasis here on touching the grass. So we're going to, again, zoom in even further. Right as I'm touching it, everything's looking centered and nice. Just clicking and dragging to move it.
test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time since I've been outside here, but yeah, it's, you know, I prefer to be, yeah, it's, you know.
And then my head kind of goes out of frame, so I'm going to drag it back up. One more little zoom. I don't want to go much past this to maintain quality.
Yeah, it's, you know, I prefer to be inside on this controller. And
boom. Then we're doing another cut. Prefer to be inside on this controller, and I'm kind of recatching my breath in the video. That's where we can do another cut, zoom back out a little. So just clicking and dragging to rescale it, keep myself centered. We're going to start from a little bit more zoomed in than in the beginning, and then go from there. So just to kind of quickly play back what we have here, I'll show you.
So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass. So we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time since I've been outside here, but yeah.
Now, one thing I have done here is I've kind of zoomed in and out quite a bit. I want to keep a little more consistency here. So let me go back through on the last zoom out.
Touch grass. So we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time.
So this one I actually want to zoom in a little bit more focus on what I'm doing here. So let's just see this again.
So we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time since I've been outside here, but
perfect.
Yeah, it's, you know, I prefer to be inside on this controller. And
awesome. And then it cuts right here. So I know for a lot of people, you might think that's unnecessary or there's too many cuts and it's a little distracting, right? But the entire point of that first segment of content is to grab the viewer's attention right away. We make it look very familiar to the platform. We add the comment that the video is referencing, and it's a regular video recorded on an iPhone, right? It doesn't get much more needed than that. You know, the only thing that's going to stand out about this being an ad is me, obviously, holding a product. And then, you know, whatever call to action on a dynamic button we have at the bottom of the creative shows, as well as the description and everything. So nonetheless, it's still content they can relate to. They've probably seen a lot, and that reply comment's going to intrigue them. They're going to want to read it and see what it says. So that's what we kind of do on the intro there to keep retention. And we're going to follow the same strategy throughout the rest of the main content as well. It may be more subtle, but it's just important that even once you get them to watch the beginning of the video, you got to keep the viewer watching. You need to increase viewer retention. So we're going to continue on with what we're doing here, and I'll show you if there's any other changes.
I prefer to be inside on this controller. And as crazy as it may sound, there's a reason behind as crazy as it may sound, there's a reason behind. As it may sound, there's a reason behind the cabin fever I've developed in sitting in.
This is kind of funny, the cabin fever and sitting, so I'm cutting here again. One more zoom, even though it might be a little bit out of focus. It's almost comedic in a way. With gaming, we're very fortunate this audience allows us to do a lot of things that would go against the grain. And there's a lot of other examples out there I could reference if I wanted to. But sometimes it's almost funny in a way to do that super extreme zoom where the camera's blurred and it just makes sense to do, right? We're not in a luxury business with super professional salespeople or, you know, real estate agents, and the quality's going to be super high, you know, 4K, perfect zoom production the whole time. We don't want that here. We're trying to be funny. We're trying to put it on TikTok. We're trying to keep viewer attention. So in this case, I could zoom in a little bit, and that's kind of what we're doing here.
And as crazy as it may sound, there's a reason behind the cabin fever I've developed in sitting indoors the last 3 weeks.
Sitting indoors the last 3 weeks, and we'll do another cut here even further. So it's on that like zoom in kind of trend here. This is where we'll do the funny one.
I've developed in sitting indoors the last 3 weeks.
Then we'll cut right back out. all the way this time. Super dramatic cut. 3 weeks. Playing Modern. And then again, after we zoom out, back in again, the conversation continues. Playing Modern Warfare 3, trying to get my rank up. I'm going to zoom in, or excuse me, I open the box, so we're going to zoom in a little bit more. Again, just Control B to split. Clicking the, little scroll here on the bottom to move to what part of the timeline I want to stay on. Horrible wind here. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. That's the entire point of the video. We wanted to kind of show you guys how ridiculous, this platform can be in maintaining that organic and genuine appearance, right? The wind really doesn't matter in this case. It's not going to hurt conversion. Maybe if there's some headphone users in here, they might get a little mad, they might scroll past. But 9 times out of 10, I can adjust this audio just a little bit. If you hover over this horizontal line, you'll see that that's indicating the audio. You can click, drag it down just a hair, and we've moved down a few decibels, so it's not going to blow out their eardrums. Trying to get my rank up. But it's all because of this controller. I wanted to show you guys. And I can even skip this part, honestly. It's all because of this controller. And start from there. And I wanted to show you guys. Let's see what we got here. Trying to get my rank up. And I wanted to show you guys because it's really made a difference in the web. Perfect. And I wanted to show you guys because it's really made a difference. We're here. Recenter. Show you guys because it's really made a difference in the way I've been playing lately. Another cut and reset to the next point. We can reset our scale here. And click and drag. Recenter. Playing lately, and I got to customize it exactly. Another good point of emphasis. Light zoom. I got to customize it exactly the way I wanted. So, and then I'm resetting again. Changing points in the conversation. I'm gonna zoom back out and go from there. Yeah, I wanted. So, without having this thing blow away in the wind, without having this thing, a little bit of a gap. I'm gonna click and drag where I split it to the right, and that's gonna shorten the clip and snap it back. Having this thing blow away in the wind. So that's removing the filler clips, as you can see right there. Excuse me, yeah, like the filler section. Thing blow away in the wind. Zoom this in. Thing blow away in the wind. I just wanted to show off. Without having the thing blow away in the wind, I just wanted to show off first and foremost. The wind. I just wanted to show off first. Find a nice point of emphasis cut there. Zoom it in. I just wanted to show off first and foremost how absolutely this packaging is. Boom. First and foremost. Slight cut here, and then zoom in. How absolutely incredible this packaging is. I mean, they literally send you a card with another cut on with your name on it. Send you a card with your name on it. I've already put your name on it. Back to resetting the scale. And again, the preview window is not going to show your full quality until the render is actually completed. So the quality you're seeing here is not that compromised when you zoom in. It'll look a lot better when you render it. Name on it. I've already opened this, so I've seen the card they left. It shows the whole team, and it's got a signature from the controller technician. It's got a signature team, and it's got a So this part I don't think is completely relevant, and we have to keep in mind we want it under 60 seconds. So I'm going to cut this part again just by clicking and dragging where I split it, or you could click Control V, split, then delete that middle piece. Signature from the controller technician that built this. That's your name on it. Signature. I missed a little piece here. Clicking and dragging back. Signature from the controller technician that's got a signature. Pause. Remove the filler space. Zoom in on the emphasis. Signature from the controller technician that built this. Changing the pace in the convo. It's time for me to reset it again and split it. Removing this filler space. Zooming back out. That in itself was cool with me. It made me feel special. That in itself was cool with me. It made me feel special. Another point of emphasis. Zooming in a little. Recentering. Special. Cool with me. It made me feel special. You know what I mean? I'm not used to getting stuff like this. Boom. Cutting it again. So this part I'll probably skip through. We don't want to show them me really pulling the packaging out of the product. We can skip over that part. So let's see where the next kind of key moment is here as we're closing in on about 16 seconds of time. Secondly, inside of the case So instead of, that whole space there, I'll just go right to inside the case. And stuff like this. Inside of the case just looks insane, Perfect. Stuff like this. And right here, I want to kind of zoom back in a little. Talking about the case, we want to show it off. I'm not used to getting stuff like this. Inside of the case just looks insane. Go back to resetting the scale. You open up this magnetic lid, and it is the most beautiful design, motivational quote to get me hype on and do. I'll just cut it to motivational quote here. Insane. Motivational quote. Case just looks insane. Cut off that little end piece. I can make sure the next clip's highlighted here. I'm going to scale in. Insane. Motivational quote to get me hype on and do some drop shots. Referencing the drop shots in the comment. Side of the case just looks insane. Motivational quote to get me hype on and do some drop shots. And I'm going to zoom back out here again while I'm changing pace in the combo. But then we have this zippered travel case. But then we have this dots. Then we have this zip. Emphasis here. Zippered. Putting it. Zooming in. This zippered travel case that's molded to the controller, and zippered travel case. In the filler case that's molded to the controller. And zoom in on emphasis.
Travel case that's molded to the controller and
And then removing the hand part here.
obviously, the controller itself stands out. I pride myself in the design I picked here, but we have the Big Benjamin, as I say.
Cut to the next big piece.
Big Benjamin, as I say. PS5 with the gold chrome accents.
So I'm just going to cut it to PS5 control, I think. We'll zoom back out just a hair to give us room to zoom in on the emphasis.
PS5
And don't worry if it seems like a direct cut. That's honestly not an issue. If anything, it's just more engaging.
travel case that's molded to the controller. PS5
Actually.
with the gold chrome accents.
So you know what? Because I say controller here, we can cut right to the next piece. So that's just something, you can kind of flow through naturally.
Travel case that's molded to the controller with the gold chrome accents.
And then as I'm holding it up, I'm going to zoom in. Even if I'm not really saying anything here, it's great product placement. Get this zoomed in on centered, not compromise quality for the shot.
Accents.
Another point of emphasis might be funny to zoom in just a little bit more.
Absolutely insane. Now there's no
Another little gap, remove the filler, and then zoom back out.
shapes and symbols on the buttons. I got them.
So what I'm noticing here, and this is another thing you'll see as you kind of go along, you need to get a feel for the content that you've recorded. Now, I could make multiple different videos out of this one piece of content. That's something we mentioned when we were recording this is, even though it's longer than a minute, there's so many variations and different pain points and solutions that I've touched on, benefits to the product. And this one specifically, he references mouse clicks, tells me to touch grass, gives me an opportunity to go outside, create some comedy, and talk about the controller. So there's been a lot about the packaging and the design that's all great stuff. But in this case, I might want to reference the mouse clicks a little bit, which I know come later on throughout this recording. And we're closing in on the 1 minute mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and remove any segments that I think aren't entirely necessary to the video. And we're just going to play it back one more time to watch.
So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass. So we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time since I've been outside here, but yeah, it's I prefer to be inside on this controller. And as crazy as it may sound, there's a reason behind the cabin fever I've developed.
So we're going to remove as crazy as it may sound.
There's a reason behind the cabin fever I've developed. And as crazy as it may sound, there's a
yeah. So we'll just go to there's a reason, and you'll see how this still flows
on this controller. And there's a reason behind the cabin fever I've developed in sitting indoors the last 3 weeks. Playing Modern Warfare 3.
We can get rid of this gap as well. We don't need that.
3 weeks. Playing Modern Warfare 3, trying to get my rank up. And I wanted to show you guys because it's...
Get rid of that.
And I
need that either. Just cleaning things up here, giving us more time.
rank up. And I wanted to show you guys because it's really made a difference in the way I've been playing lately. And I wanted to show you guys because it's really made a difference in the way I've been...
I could remove this part. It does show a nice piece of the case, but I think... Yeah, I show it again, so I'll remove this part
Modern
too.
Warfare 3, trying to get my rank up. And I wanted to show you guys because it's really...
We'll just keep the it's really made a difference in my gameplay type of piece.
Trying to get my rank up. Really made a difference in the way I've been playing lately. And I got to customize it exactly the way I wanted. So...
Remove and I think too.
And I got...
Yeah, another, half second or so there.
Lately, I got to customize it exactly the way I wanted. So without having this thing
Remove so.
the way I wanted. So exactly the way I wanted. Without having this thing blow away in the wind, I just wanted to show off first and foremost how absolutely this package is. Exactly the way I wanted. Without having this thing blow away in the wind, without having the thing
Yeah, I'll remove all this too.
just want to blow away in the wind,
I just wanted to show you.
way I wanted. I just wanted to show off first and foremost how absolutely incredible this packaging is. I mean, they literally send you a card with your name on it.
I'll get rid of I mean. They literally send you a card.
They literally send you a card with your name on it, got a signature from the controller technician that built this. That in itself was cool with me. It made me feel special. You know what I mean? I'm not used to getting stuff like
We'll remove, you know what I mean.
special. You know what I mean? I'm not used.
Keep I'm not
You
used
know
to.
what I mean?
I'm not used to.
It made me feel special. I'm not used to getting stuff like this. Inside of the
And right there, I don't particularly like the cuts where it stays the same, but it's really not a big deal. It's more personal preference for me.
not used
I'm just going to cut it in a little here, zoom in a little.
itself was cool with me. It made me feel special. I'm not used to getting stuff like this. Inside of the case.
Awesome. Moving on here.
Inside of the case just looks insane. Motivational quote to get me hype on and do some drop shots. Then we have this zippered travel case that's molded to the controller with the gold chrome accents. Absolutely insane. Now the
I'll remove that space
absolutely
because I'm still showing it there. Delete that.
gold chrome accents. Absolutely insane. Now there's no shapes and symbols.
Okay, so now we're back to where we're at here, and we shaved off, another 10 seconds or so.
Shapes and symbols on the buttons. I got absolutely insane. Now there's no absolutely insane.
We'll just remove this bit here and stop it after I say absolutely insane. Now let's see what else we have for content that we want to put in this last 15 or so seconds.
shapes and like, you know, symbols on the buttons. I got them completely smoothed over with the gold chrome. And you know, as I said, the design.
As I said, the design.
Absolutely insane. And you know, as I said, the design just
go straight to the design.
Absolutely insane. Design just stands out. Insane. Design just stands out. Absolutely insane. The design just stands out.
Right there.
We got the interchangeable thumbsticks on here.
Yeah, so we'll show this thumbsticks now. What I wanted to try to get in this last bit was the stuff about the mouse clicks. We talked a lot about just, you know, the comedy and the cool intro to just kind of get people to watch. And we showed off some of the packaging. Now I want to show the competitive advantage of the product.
Thumbsticks on here. The design just stands out. Thumbsticks on here with the gold under. The design just stands out. Changeable thumbsticks.
Missed the interchangeable part.
Stands out. Interchangeable thumbsticks.
Perfect. We'll scroll in here or zoom in here. Excuse me.
Stands out. Interchangeable thumbsticks on here.
Put it there.
With the gold underneath. Gold underneath.
Zoom in one more time so they can see that part.
It's on here with the gold underneath.
Cut it again.
And that's another incredible feature. Change thumbstick height.
Skip the part where I struggle to put it on.
Behind the scenes of how he make quick cuts because I can't get this thumbstick back. Last one I did, I actually got it back on first try. But besides the flashy stuff, the thing that sticks out and
all right, cut back into this.
Underneath, but besides the flash,
go right to besides the flashy stuff because we're at 9 seconds we have left.
Besides the flashy stuff, the thing that sticks out and really made the biggest difference for me was these mouse click triggers.
I'll keep skipping through this part.
Really made the biggest difference for me.
The thing that really made the biggest difference for me. That's what we need.
Really made the biggest difference for me.
See how we can word this here to split it up.
Underneath, thing that sticks out and really made.
Yeah, the thing that sticks out.
And really made the biggest thing that sticks out. Really made the biggest difference for me.
Perfect. Gets the point across.
Underneath, thing that sticks out, really made the biggest difference for me was these mouse click.
We'll go right to was these mouse click triggers. Boom.
Difference for me was these mouse click triggers. They are not like a trigger stop. They're not like, you know, the weird adjustability you have. This is what they put in this is what they put inside a mouse.
No problem with the error there. Just keep it recording and then we cut it here.
What they put inside a mouse.
Boom. Zoom that back out.
Click triggers. What they put inside a mouse. Same thing.
We'll go to the CTA here.
You know, regular gaming computer mouse. But they put it in not just your triggers, not just your bumpers. They've even mouse, but they.
See if we can fit this part too, actually, because this is a crucial part. We might go back and remove a few things.
Triggers, not just your bumpers. They've even added them to the face button. So if you're like,
yeah, we'll just do. They've even added it to the face button.
Bumpers.
Most people expect the triggers and bumpers if they've seen our content and everything too.
They've even added them to the face button. So
the button.
That's what they put inside a mouse. Even added them to the face button. So if you're like me and you play claw and you don't off the face button. So if you're
might keep this so because it might go direct to the CTA. So we're gonna skip right through here and see what we have for the CTA.
Like you do that. So head to GameNetics.com. Really like you do that.
So right there, I found another spot where I said so, and we can just merge that pretty seamlessly. So I'm just gonna click this, hit delete, cut that part, and we'll go right to the CTA here and close it out.
So if head to GameNetics.com face button. So if head
the little flip there.
Button. So head to GameNetics.com.
Perfect. I'll zoom out here, give some room to put some text and everything around me.
So head to GameNetics.com, check out the builder and GameNetics.com.
This space here.
Check out the builder and build either PS5 or Xbox.
Right to the last bit.
Either PS5 or Xbox.
Now we need to remove, about a second here. So let me see what we have.
With these mouse click triggers. What they put inside a mouse. Even added
a little space there.
Put inside a mouse. Even added them to the face button. So head to GameNetics.com, build either PS5 or Xbox.
Very close. Move a little bit more filler here.
The design just stands out. The interchangeable thumbsticks on here with the gold underneath.
A little bit right there.
Thumbsticks on here, the gold underneath. Thing that sticks out really made the biggest difference for me was these mouse click triggers. What the thing that sticks out really made the biggest difference for me was these.
We'll remove that part. We actually don't need it because we kind of say the same thing twice.
Thing that sticks out was these mouse click triggers. What they put inside a mouse. Even added them to the face button. So head to GameNetics.com, build either PS5 or Xbox.
Well, then we're good. And we cut. So we're under a minute. We have the whole thing cut, zoomed in, all the engaging elements sort of that we need here. We have the reply comment at the beginning. The last bit we're going to do is add our CTA. So if they've made it that far through the video, we've done our job in making it appear to be genuine and organic. Now is where we can push the CTA at the end. So I'm just going to click default. You can do the little custom templates. Maybe you find something you like. You can even save as a preset, which a lot of times we'll do. But I'm just going to show you how to go through and make this custom to kind of match the native stuff on TikTok. So we want to make sure it pops at the right spot first.
So head to GameNetics.com.
Yep, right at the beginning of the CTA, start the text there. I just use a nice clean font. We're going to do www.GameNetics.com. com. Just clicking in this text thing after we've clicked and highlighted it. This is the text box here. Just click in there, type it in. What we want to do is we want to add a background. We want to make it look like TikTok text, right? We could leave it like this and it could potentially still look like TikTok text, but people are going to be able to read it as well. And I like adding the little rounded background behind it. So all I got to do, scroll down in this text box, click the little gray box here, and select background. Then we want to click this option on the right here. It kind of does like the rounded border if you were to have two separate ones or two separate lines of text, excuse me. So rounded rectangle, we're going to turn this right up to about probably 55%. Height's going to go to about 40%. And then width's going to go right around 55%, something like that. And then what we can do is we can either click the corners and drag to resize, or you can scroll back up and do the same with the little font sizer here. And we want to, again, just keep in mind that there's going to be like comment stuff on the right side and, username and description. We don't want any of the overlay of the platform to be covering it. And we also don't want the text to cover anything important. So we're just going to put it right about here, not covered by any of the overlay, not covering or covered by the description, and not covering the product.
Face button. So head to GameNetics.com, build either PS5 or Xbox controller.
Boom. And what I'm going to do is I want to add like the little emojis pointing down without it being too wide and without the text being too small. So I'm just going to click on this, hold Control C. That's going to copy it. And then I'm going to click where the timeline indicator is here to choose where I want to paste a copy of this text. And then I'm just going to hit Control V and it's going to paste another version. Now all I have to do is make sure I'm selected on it. It should already be selected on it once you pasted it. Click and select the text inside the box here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to hold, I believe it's the Windows key plus the period. Yep. That's going to pull up our emojis. I'm going to put point down. Yeah, I just typed in point. I got the thumb or the hand pointing down. That's going to show, where we want them to take a look. And it's, something native to the platform. So we're just going to stick one on each side probably. Click and copy again. Like that, and it kind of fits the niche. It looks similar to the platform, and it's kind of gamer-esque. Like a lot of gamers use those types of emojis and everything, so it looks pretty solid.
So head to GameNetics.com, build either PS5 or Xbox.
Boom, and that's that. So the last thing I like doing, and this is just a preference thing because it is gaming, I can go to the animation tab up here. So if you click and select the last clip, we hover over to animation. I want to select out. In is going to be animations at the beginning of the clip. Out's going to be animations at the end of the clip, and then combo is going to do the whole clip. I just want to do the out. So I'm going to go to the one that I prefer is unfold.
Build either PS.
And I'm still on it. Excuse me. Let me go down. It's going to be fold. Boom. And then it ends the clip, right?
Build either PS5 or Xbox.
Boom. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same effect to the intro. So once the video ends, it kind of adds like a little loop to it in a way with the transition. So unfold. Boom. Now we have a little loop to our clip. So go through.
So everybody in the
looks like a little loop. So all in all, that's the main cut up, text, zooms, all the engaging assets to the video that I would need on this one. The last bit is going to be adding the audio, to which, you could use a audio software such as Epidemic Sounds or Envato, or just access to TikTok's trending sounds library. I'll go through the app, and I'm kind of in tune to GameNetics brand and what type of audios would be relevant to that. So, whatever means you guys need to get that music, go ahead and download it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this up on the side here. I already have a whole folder of audio that I use, and it fits the gaming brand. So I believe it's this one. Yep, so this one's perfect. So I'm just going to click it again like we did with the video, hold it and drag it into the timeline, and then it's there. And what we want to make sure is that the music's not too loud and it overshadows my actual talking. We're going to do the same thing we did to fix that wind noise. So you'll see the horizontal line here on the soundtrack. All you got to do is click and hold on it and then drag it down. The other option is to look up here in the top right and you'll see a volume slider and you can adjust it from there. So it's probably going to be somewhere in that 20s range, and let's see what this sounds like.
So everybody in the comments been telling me to touch grass, so we are here to put it to the test and see what it's all about. It's been a long time since
I'm pretty solid.
Went outside here, but
want to make sure we get the beat drop too and make sure that part's not too loud.
They literally send you a card with your name on it, got a signature.
Probably, yeah, turn it up just a couple points there.
The controller technician that built this. That in itself was cool to me. It made me feel special. I'm not used to getting stuff like this. Inside of the
and yeah, if you want, you guys can give it a watch through, see how everything looks. That just about wraps up a really simple, organic, short form ad. We went out and we recorded it. We cut it up. We had quick transitions and cuts to make things a little engaging. We put the reply comment in that we curated, and I showed you guys where to do that. And then we added the native TikTok text at the end. So all you need to do here, ensure that this is the only thing in your timeline. So you can hold control, hover over the timeline, zoom all the way out by pulling the scroll wheel down. make sure there's nothing else at the end of this timeline. If there is, and you hit export without selecting anything, it's going to render everything in that timeline. If you do have a whole bunch of stuff here that you've been working on, you can click and drag to highlight the whole segment of the creative you want rendered. Right click, go to range, hover over this, move your mouse to the right and hit select by clip. Now what that's going to do is only have the clips and content that you've selected here, the ability to be rendered. So we're going to go ahead and take this selection we have here, go all the way up to export on the top right, click that, and it's going to pop up a secondary window. Let me make sure I'm letting me move it here. Just a second, guys. I don't know why it's popping the window up here on the right and it's not letting me edit it. Let me come back and readjust this for you guys. Hold on. Thankfully with CapCut, there's a cloud. So you'll never lose a file save here. There we go. So let me drag the window now. So let me try bringing this back over here. We'll go into the piece content again. It still opened it up on the right of my screen. All right, here we go. Now let me try hitting export again, see what it does. There we go. So this is what you're going to be seeing. So we want to select the folder we need to render the content out in. I have a new ad set folder for this. I'm going to create ad set 30, oops, caps lock on, to match our Google Drive folder. Select folder. Normally the content be dragged in here. I'm just going through showing you guys a video. Make our final folder, drag it in there and hit select folder. Resolution wise, 4K is cool. I know a lot of people want to have that high res. When it comes to TikTok and any other real social media platform, they're going to compress that. So ideally, even if you're recording 4K, render it no higher than 1080. Frame rate's your preference. For ease of upload and file size, I usually just run with 1080, 30 FPS. You can go ahead and name your file. And if you've already named the project up here at the top, it's going to give you the same name as the project in the file name. I'm just going to go ahead and name it Touch Grass, mouse clicks 1. And I name this one because we may go through and edit the same creative for variations. Maybe we change the hook with the different controllers we showed you guys. Maybe we change some of that main content to be more design focused than it is mouse clicks. Maybe we remove all the design focus. We only talk about the competitive parts of the controller. So naming it 1 so we can have variations like that. Then all you're going to go ahead and do is hit export and watch how fast that is. Boom. Done. Just like that. And if you want to preview it, hit open folder. Going to pop up this window where it'll show you where it's saved. You can double click and you can go through and preview it. And I'll just go ahead and play this so you guys can kind of see the main quality here and what this all looks like. We'll show it to you after the fact. I'm sure it'll be played in the edit. But that's what it looks like. Here's the final product. I'll skim through here. Boom. And then you're done. Then we'll go ahead and get this into an ad campaign. Probably, I think we talked about doing a very bad version of the creative. Maybe we'll just upload it in its raw format with no reply comment and no CTA at the end. And we'll compare the two on how they do. So that's CapCut 101 brought to you by X Factor. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, guys, now it's time to set up our campaign. So let's go ahead and click Create Campaign. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just go through and create it together. So the first thing you want to do is click Advanced. And then once it loads up, we're going to set up a smart performance campaign today. So we're going to go ahead and click Website Conversions and then click Smart Performance. Now, in this particular case, we are going to be running a smart performance because we've had ads that have worked successfully in the past. This is an ad account that is very mature. It has a lot of conversion data. If you are starting out on a new account, this method may not work. I just want to be upfront with that. But sometimes it does work. It's kind of hit or miss when we're working with a new e-commerce brand who's adding TikTok as a sales channel. It really does depend on whether the smart performance campaign will work out of the gate, or we have to get some conversion data on the account before we transition to a smart performance. So if this campaign, you don't start seeing results in the first 7 days, then it might be worth switching back to, say, a DCT hybrid method, which I probably need to make a whole nother video about of how to make a DCT campaign, because that's a CBO campaign with multiple ad sets within it that you can run, and that's usually a better starting point before you move it to the smart performance. But please don't think that the smart performance campaign doesn't work for those who have new ad accounts. It still can. It just kind of depends on what ends up happening with the ad account. So at least in the initial phase is what I'm really referencing. So let's rename this campaign. Let's call it Smart Performance 14. We can come back and change the name. And let's go ahead and go continue. Now, the Smart Performance campaign really does make this whole campaign setup very, very easy. So there's really not going to be a whole lot to this. We just want to make sure that we link our pixel. So make sure your pixel is linked. If you don't have your pixel set up, I might need to make another video on how to, set up all your events and everything, but it's pretty straightforward. If you need to know how to set up you don't have a pixel and you need to have it here, you can pause the video, go to tools and go to events, and then follow the prompts that allow you to integrate it directly into Shopify. So go to tools, management, events, and that's where you'll set up your pixel for those who are wondering. The optimization event you want to set for conversion and complete payment. So we're going to go complete payment. If you don't have the complete payment conversion yet because you don't have many sales data, then you can go ahead and just search your whatever event you can have access to, whether it's view content, which would be website visit, add to cart, which is add to cart, add payment info, or complete payment. But sometimes you can start out with some website visit ads and then move to add to cart when you get some add to carts, and then complete payment. So you can kind of move down these these funnel events to get more and more high intent. So that may be another suggestion for maybe a new person who's maybe starting a new ad account. I would recommend going with a smart performance and testing a CBO campaign first before you kind of go back and try these other methods. So once we have that, we keep everything the same. We keep user comments on because, we can handle comments and it's okay to basically manage them. It's better to have them on there if you can go in there and reply. So if you go to let's see, is it the tools and then comments under audience, you can manage comments on your ads. You can turn them off if you want to, but it just helps with engagement a little bit, and you can kind of filter out bad comments too and set like your filters for different words and stuff if you don't want certain words being shown as well. I'm going to keep all those on. Audience targeting, we usually keep United States, all languages. The goal here for this campaign is to keep it as open as possible to help the creative find the right people for us, because the people that are going to resonate with the ad and like watch more of the ad are going to be people who understand what they're watching. And so we're going to see more people who are kind of drawn in by that. So with smart performance, we can do a minimum of $70 a day. We're going to set it up and do, let's say, $125 as our starting budget. Recommend anywhere between $70 to say $200 to start, I would recommend. Sometimes we go higher depending on like whether we're trying to scale pretty heavily, but we can just start around 125. Actually, let's do 150. We just start the ad as soon as it goes live because basically the algorithm will kind of set spend to go out at peak hour generally already for you, so don't have to set any start and end times like day parting. We also find that day parting will spend all of the budget very quickly in the first few hours of the day when you start the schedule, and it won't have any spend for the rest of the day. So recommend just doing this as normal. Bid strategy, want to go down and make sure that our attribution window is set to 28-day click and 7-day view. And basically what this means is, in layman's terms, is your attribution window is the length of time that your ad account will track sales. For example, let's say we turn this ad campaign on, and let's say we run this campaign for, say, 7 days and we turn it off, right? Well, let's say maybe there was a potential buyer that saw the ad on day 5, but they decided not to buy on day 5 and they decided to buy on day 12 after the campaign was turned off. Now, because it's a 7-day window where they just saw the ad and then they went and purchased on day 12, even though the ad is off, it's still going to give credit to your campaign. Now, you might be thinking, wow, that's crazy, right? Well, yeah, it is. But the important thing is, the reason why this is really, really important is because when you have a new account or you're starting out, you don't have a lot of conversion data, you want to keep that window of time of capturing as many sales as you possibly can within that time frame. Because the longer you can extend the time frame, the more credit you can give to the account, which is going to give it more data points, especially if they're conversions, which can then mature your ad account faster and in turn get you better results with new campaigns that you launch. So you always want to have these set on high, and that will allow you to capture as much data as possible. So highest value, make sure that's turned on. Now, in here, we want to basically set up the ads. So pretty straightforward. All we need to do is add the ads, and I'll come back once I have those uploaded. We'll go from there. All right, so we got our 6 ads here. We're going to click upload, get those uploaded into here.
And then I just also need to go, while those are loading, I need to go and grab the text from our previous winning ads, and we'll talk about that as well. All right, guys, so we got our creatives loaded up here that are filling in at the moment. I also went ahead and pulled ad text from some of the successful ads we run in the past, and also testing one new headline. So let me explain to you guys kind of the theory and experience behind how we approach our ad text. On TikTok, we only have one place to have text on an ad. Unlike Facebook, we can have multiple pieces of text. So we use a few different strategies. One is the reply comments, as you guys can see over here from one of the ads we created earlier. And then also you can basically have text like right above where the button is to shop. So what we've done is we've taken some of our previously good winning titles or text. We got free display plus travel case every order, add mouse clicks to your build today. We added one other one to try, which is 1.2 billion color combos. In order to apply, because these aren't going to work for your brand, your product, the way you apply this is you got to think about, what is your offer? Is it a percentage off? Is it a discount? Is it a buy one, get one? Do you get something free with your offer? Is something bundled? Is there a coupon? Is there something you can do to incentivize someone to take action in your ad text? We find that offers work really well. And what's the right word I'm looking for? Authority positioning in the market. Like, for example, number one most customizable controller, right? Like, that's something that we can use for us that has worked really well in the past as well. So lead with offer as part of your text. That generally is the best way to get conversions. And what I recommend is, please, like, have an offer. Don't just try and sell it at full price. Like, have a discount that you can give just to get some conversion data in. You can always change the offer later. Have a limited time offer for, say, 40, 50, 60, 70% off. Mark up the price, whatever you need to do for it to make sense. Not be too deceptive to your audience. You want to make sure that it makes sense for, the sale that you have going on, or a sale you can create, and then build an offer around it. That is what is going to get people to click, in addition to seeing the creative. That's what I'd recommend for text, and no more than 3. I'd recommend just 2. We're going to test 3 today. Usually keep it to 2, but you can also do around 3. But I wouldn't recommend doing any more, because it's basically creating more ad variations. So we've got 6 ads, 3 pieces of ad text. Now we have 18 ads in this campaign. And when you start jumping up with more ad text like 4 and 5, we're going to have, it's going to be 20, 26, or 24, and then 30 ads, right? And with the budget we have set, it's just not enough budget to test all the ads. So that's another important thing, is the amount of ads that are being generated, there's just not a big enough budget for it. So really, all you need to do is create your custom identity, or link your account here. You can also use TikTok account to deliver Spark ads. We're not going to go over that Spark ads today, but you would have to have these ads uploaded onto your organic profile in order to do this. So just upload them. Make sure you have your logo. Please don't run an ad. I swear, don't run an ad that just has like a stock profile picture. Like, just don't do it. There's so many brands that do that, and it's a big mistake. It'll heavily affect conversions. So we've got the ad text, the URL. We're going to put in our URL. So we want to send people to the website. Now for us, we've found that our best landing page is going to be our customized. We're going to send people to the builder where they can switch between PlayStation and Xbox and order that way. So we're going to put this in. I'd recommend that your landing page is your product page. That is usually the best rule of thumb. And then with a call to action, I would keep it dynamic. It allows it to kind of be customized to basically per user, and we find that does convert better. Then with tracking, we don't have to worry about any third-party tracking. Now, if we were doing, we would add like triple whale parameters on this. So like if you're using a third-party platform like data attribution to track your analytics to give you better data, you could use a Google UTM parameter, or you could use a triple whale UTM parameter to track sales specifically from this campaign, which I'd recommend. If you guys are looking to implement like something that gives you more data, like data attribution, Triple Whale has helped us time and time again with understanding our data and helping us to run better and better ads and make better decisions based on the ad data. Because sometimes the TikTok platform doesn't capture all of the sales that come in, but Triple Whale allows us to do that, and then also see our Meta, our Google, all ad spend combined on Triple Whale. So if you're looking to get into Triple Whale, link below in my description if you're interested in that. But Triple Whale has saved us and been so helpful with all the other brands we work with. So with that said, let's go ahead and we're just going to submit. I just want to change the name of the campaign to, we're going to do SP19. And we're going to go ahead and click submit. and we'll be good to go. Submit, and I'll see you guys on the other side, and we'll see you in the first or the next update. There we go.
All right, so this is going to be our first check-in on the ads. As you can see here, we basically started yesterday. We spent about $75 and our CPC is around 59 cents with 126 clicks. We're starting to see some results come in. Usually within the first 24 hours, I wouldn't expect a whole lot. A lot of people who make videos on ads, especially in drop shipping, they say if you don't get results in the first 24 hours, then kill it. But I do not recommend that at all. Someone who runs ads not only for their own brand but also plenty of other e-commerce brands that we run TikTok ads for. So don't kill it in the first 24 hours. And as you can see here, we're going to have a look at the results from day 2 or the start of day 2. It's currently about 7:30 in the morning the next day on day 1 still. And look at that. We're at 10 ROAS for the day already. So we have 2 conversions, $183 per sale, $366 in complete payment value with $36 spent. So we got an $18 CPA, 43 cent CPC, which this has dropped even today. So we can tell that it's optimizing and doing better. 10 ROAS is extremely good. So what we want to do is, you might be inclined to think, well, if I'm getting 10 ROAS right now, I should scale it. Now, if we were aggressively scaling this campaign, I might up the budget to around 225 or 250. But in this case, I want to give an example of a normal average type of campaign that, giving you guys suggestions on how to actually manage it and scale it, because 2 conversions isn't a ton of conversions yet. So once we kind of see how the day continues to play out, if we start getting to like 4 or 5 conversions, mid-afternoon or evening, then we can definitely scale it then. But we want to kind of monitor to see how we can hold this ROAS and see if it increases or decreases and if we get any other sales today. So with that being said, let's just have a quick look at the data here on the creatives and see where the sales are coming from. Remember, we're looking at creative and also ad text. So let's go ahead and look at creatives and let's scroll across and see what we got. Okay, so we've got 2 conversions from this ad right here. Let's see, $1.68 CPC. Let's see, this ad looks like it's going to have some crazy rise because you can see it's only spent $3.36. So if we change the columns here and we do page event, let's add complete payment ROAS. All right, let's see. Oh my gosh, would you look at that? 109 ROAS. That is crazy. I'm sure you haven't seen that before. We don't frequently see this, especially with 2 sales. Usually you can see like outliers where it happens once, but 2 sales on this particular ad, which is crazy, honestly. So what I would venture to say is what's going to happen with this ad specifically today is we can see the ad spend distribution is a lot of them are going to these 2, but what's going to happen is this $3.36, I guarantee this ad is going to start taking more spend based on the results that we're getting so far. Because what the Smart Performance campaign is going to do is once it kind of figures out where sales are coming from, it's going to then dedicate more spend to it. So I'd say the next 24 hours, we're going to see more spend on this ad, and it's going to be one of the highest spenders compared to the others unless the others start bringing in sales. So that's why Smart Performance is so good, is because you're able to actually, test creatives, and then the algorithm's actually able to place the ads where they belong based on results. So that's what's really cool. Now let's see what ad text is working well. We know that we did 2 kind of tried and true methods and then 1 kind of out there to see what was working better, just to like throw a variable in the picture. And let's see. Okay, so we've got, our tried and true free display plus travel case with every order. This is converting the best at 42 ROAS. Right now this is, good early results to see, and we're going to monitor this and see how it continues to perform. So that's our first little update on the ads. Okay, we're checking in about 24 hours after we launched this campaign. So far, we are looking pretty good. We currently have 6 conversions on the day, which is fantastic. We can see here that we're currently sitting around 40 cent CPC, which is really solid, and $175 spent on this particular day. So we're looking pretty healthy right now. This is kind of at the end of the day, and what we're going to do is we want to make sure that we can maintain some sales going into the next day. But 8.93 ROAS is really solid. This is kind of what we want to be, trying to shoot for. We should be able to look at scaling tomorrow based on if we're able to get any initial sales, make sure that we're able to like hold the conversion. We don't want to scale too fast. In this situation, we may have scaled if we're trying to aggressively scale.
but as mentioned, want to show kind of a modest campaign structure and how to manage it. So looking really solid. Spent about $175, made back $1,500, and we're going to kind of continue to monitor and keep you guys up to date. So one last thing that I wanted to show here is between yesterday and today, we're looking at around 4.92 ROAS across both days. As you guys know, we didn't get any sales the day one, which is perfectly normal. And we were able to basically generate around $2,000 off around $400 in spend. So this is looking pretty good as well. We just want to see if the next day we're able to hold these numbers and we'll be able to kind of scale up a bit from there. But so far looking really, really strong. 5 ROAS is not bad at all. Still a very, very high result here. So we'll keep you guys up to date and we'll check in here in just a few seconds. Okay, so this is going to be an update about 24 hours later. Right now we are on day 4. We have basically been running ads since the 19th. It was late on the 19th and now 20th through the 23rd. So it's been about 3 and a bit days so far. And so what we're going to do is we're going to check in on yesterday's results. Now this was the day that we were looking to figure out if we could scale. As we can see here, we're sitting at 2.34 ROAS, so a lot lower than the previous day. So at this point, looking at the 21st, we had an 8.93 ROAS. We were hoping that we could somewhat maintain those results into the 22nd, but we didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to let spend go and see how today goes, because we want to be a little bit higher than this if we even think about scaling, right? So we go to the 23rd and we have no sales, I don't think, this morning. So we'll check in a little bit later and see, sales. But what's really good to see is that our CPC is still low. We're still getting good amount of clicks. We have a look at maybe our, let's see, reach. CPC is 30, CTR is still 2.7, which is really high. Cost per 1,000 people reached. This is a little high, usually around $10. All right, I actually know the CPM here is $8. Okay, CPM's usually every 1,000 people. It has an impression. This is actually people reached. And then we can see down here we have a good amount of watch time too on the videos. But the main thing we're looking for is the CPC and making sure that all the other top of funnel metrics are good. So we'll have a look at here. We should have some add to carts and some other events. Let's see how that's going. Roll over here. See, we've got some initiate checkouts. We've got about 10 initiate checkouts, $5 initiate checkouts, 6 to add to carts. So we've got a pretty high rate. We probably had some more people go straight to checkout from the product page. And so far looking pretty good. And we'll kind of monitor to see how today goes. If we can get like anywhere between 3 to 5 sales today, then we can definitely look at scaling depending on the purchase value. So right now we don't want to scale too much because the ROAS isn't holding. And that's generally a good rule of thumb when you're running a campaign as well. It's just looking for these metrics and making sure you're not scaling too quickly. And you're also being patient with the results, right? Just because we had like a lower day than the day before, it doesn't mean the campaign's not doing well. We just need to give it a bit more time. So we'll check in here really soon and see how results are going. All right, we are checking in on April 25th. It's been a couple of days now because really there wasn't a whole lot that we needed to kind of update and change. So right now today, we've had one conversion. We're sitting at 3.58 ROAS. Our CPC is still pretty strong, and we haven't actually increased the budget yet. We're going to kind of talk about that. So going back till tomorrow, we can see, why that wasn't the case once this loads. Now you can see that yesterday we actually didn't have any conversions. So this is something that like I'm not too worried about, and I didn't get worried about on the day. And so when you have a goose egg type of day, like you don't need to do anything. And oftentimes it's better to not do anything. You don't want to get emotional about your ad spend, because as soon as you do, then you start messing up the whole campaign's growth and the whole campaign's learning phase. So just to kind of illustrate a few things here, our CTR is still very strong. And if we go back and have a look at if we're getting some people in the funnel, we can see we're still getting initiate checkouts. Initiate checkout rate's about 5%. We don't have any ad info or ad payment info, but we have also, a bunch of add to carts as well. Getting about $5 per add to cart with a 7.8% rate. So, that's still looking pretty good. So this isn't something that I'm super worried about. Preferably we don't want this happening, but this is just a perfect sense of kind of following a real campaign and like the ups and downs of the campaign. So yesterday we didn't make any changes. Now today we've had one, so I'm hoping we get a few more, because if that's the case, we might be able to scale. But if we look at the start to where we are now, we started last Friday the 19th, and now it's the 25th. So we're not quite a week yet. We're not even quite through day 6, but we can see that the campaign is actually doing pretty okay. We can see here that we're currently sitting at 16 conversions on the campaign. Now if we go back to our KPIs, you can also see in the previous campaign, we also had 2 sales. So this is pretty typical with TikTok. If you're using a platform like Triple Whale, we're just using the TikTok Ads Manager for this video's case. We can actually see, attributed sales that come through after the campaign's turned off. And this is very, very normal for TikTok. So keep that in mind. When you turn off campaigns, typically you'll have additional conversions come in after the fact. So we can see here that our current ROAS is 3.74 with 18 conversions with this other late attribution that came in. On this particular campaign, we're over 3 ROAS. So we're 3.13. Now, typically with these campaigns, we're normally getting between 3 to 7 ROAS on these campaigns. So we're going to kind of see how this continues. Like I said, it hasn't even been 6 days yet. But if we have a look at the course of some of the campaigns that we've run, even just this year, for example, we can see kind of some of the previous campaign results as well. This is kind of what we're striving for. So you can see down here, we've got, 9.28 ROAS with $70,000. We've got 5.6 with 4,000, 7.27 with 10,000, 6 ROAS with 20. So you can see there's some campaigns that are a little bit lower. Still decent ROAS though, 2.69, 2.99. This one here, we had 17 ROAS. So, we're kind of trying to see if we can push this above 4, hopefully get it around 5, but we'll just have to see how this goes. And we don't want to scale anything or change anything until we see, a few conversions and then consistently generating sales back to back. We don't want to have any 0 days before we scale. So we'll kind of see how the rest of today goes. And then hopefully we'll bring in some sales tomorrow. We'll have some really nice ROAS we can scale. Hopefully tomorrow will be the goal. So yeah, that is going to be an update for this campaign so far. Just about to go into and finish up day 6. All right, this is going to be a check-in on the 26th of April. We've given it a little bit of time now to see how everything is going. Right now, for the day, we don't have any conversions at the moment, so we're just going to have a look at how yesterday went. Looks like we had 1 conversion on this campaign. We look like we have another late attribution on the previous. As we talked about in last update, this does happen quite frequently, but at 2.15, not looking too good, honestly. We see results like this. I mean, it really depends. Like, if your break even is sometimes going to be 1.2 ROAS, 1.3, 1.4. Sometimes it's higher. So you really got to make sure you know what your break-even ROAS is, because you definitely want to be above that and obviously it be as profitable as possible long term. So right now, we didn't get any sales the previous day either. So this campaign, this is a perfect example of like, not everything always goes perfectly, right? And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to just look at the last 3 days. Let's see kind of how we're looking results wise. So we're at 1 ROAS. So basically we generated the amount of money that we've spent. Now let's have a look at the 1 day prior. Okay, we're at 2 ROAS as well. So what we're going to do here on this campaign, we're going to scale back a little bit, because sometimes what you need to do in order for the campaign to be scaled up is sometimes just give it a little bit less spend and see kind of what happens. Because it will have less spend, it'll be able to optimize a bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the budget about maybe 25%-ish, 20%. So we're going to go down to 125 for the budget. And we're going to see if we can kind of bring in some conversions at a lower budget. And then if we do see some of those come in, then we can scale back up. But we'll kind of monitor. We're looking at a good CPC. Honestly, it's still really strong. Again, we got to monitor funnel events to make sure that we're still getting add to carts, initiate checkouts. Because if that's the case, then we are still looking good. Now, one of the caveats to right now advertising in this campaign is that because we're still backed up with orders, we are having a big effect on the shipping times. So maybe people are getting to the checkout and they're realizing that it's going to take too long, right? Because our build times right now for our products are 5 to 6 weeks instead of normally like 1 to 2 weeks, because we custom hand build our products. So that may be the reason why we're this campaign here isn't getting the high ROAS that we normally get. And over the next month or so, we should be able to increase those. So that might be part of the reason. We can see we've got initiate checkouts, $8 initiate checkout. And then we've got, let's see, what's our add to carts? Add to carts, 4 add to carts at $10. So a little high, honestly, for add to carts, but we're still getting them. So we'll kind of see how this goes the rest of the day, and we'll kind of check back in here really soon. It's currently the next morning, the 27th of April. It's a Saturday morning. Now let's have a look at yesterday's results after we scaled back a little bit. So as we can see, we spent $125, which was our budget. We scaled back from 175 to 125 just to see if we can kind of get it to really kickstart. Oftentimes when campaigns aren't doing well, initially, which is kind of the case for this one. And, like I've said to you guys, like, we're doing this raw so you guys can see like the process in which we optimize. And sometimes things go better than other days and sometimes it takes longer. In this case, this was a little irregular for us to see, but as I mentioned earlier, maybe due to our longer shipping times that may be affecting this. But in any case, if you're not getting the results that you want, scaling back a little bit can help just kind of focus the ad spend a little bit more on maybe some of the better creatives, because basically what you're telling the algorithm is that we're not quite getting the results we want. And when you scale back, then it's going to kind of have to reallocate that spend a little bit differently amongst the ad creatives. And here we were able to get 2 sales at 3 ROAS, which is good. The great thing is now we're seeing the impact that it has had today already. It is only about, let's see, it's around 10 o'clock in the morning. So let's go ahead and check the 27th. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. 32 ROAS. We are sitting at 32 ROAS. Our CPC is down to 26 cents, which is incredible. We've got a total cost. We spent $30 and we've generated $1,070 in sales. So this is exactly what we wanted to see. This is actually incredible. 32 ROAS is absurd, especially with 4 conversions already. So, you know, there's another aspect to this too, is with TikTok attribution, it can kind of be a little delayed as well. And you have to think about this too, is when you launch ads, are people going to buy you the first time they see your ad? Maybe not. But within the 7 days, maybe they might buy, right? You need to understand a little bit of your product cycle. You know, the price of your product is important to understand, because if you don't, then, you know, if you have a higher priced product, it might take longer for people to buy. And that way the buying cycle is a little bit longer than, say, something that's like $20 or $30, which should happen pretty quickly. But in our case, our product's a little more expensive. It does take a bit longer sometimes for people to actually purchase. So this data looks absolutely beautiful. We're under $10 CPA, which is insane. CPC is 26 cents. We've got 32 ROAS. Let's have a look at our end of funnel metrics too, besides just our conversions for today. But this is definitely a sign where we want to look at scaling this. So I think I'm going to do that with you guys here. So damn, we're getting a $1.87 cost per initiate checkout. We've got 18 initiate checkouts. Checkout rate 13.64. Value per initiate checkout. Add payment info. And then what do we got? Add to carts. 17 add to carts at $1.98. That's crazy. So this is a very, very, very impressive day so far. Stat wise, this is definitely not typical. I mean, I've shown you the other campaigns that we were doing, like 7, 8, 5, 6 ROAS. This is absurd. This is really, really good. So in this case, we want to really aggressively scale this, because if we're at 32 ROAS, we're well above KPI. I want to talk about something that probably not a lot of other people talk about when it comes to scaling, because you look at this and you're like, well, yeah, duh, scale it, right? Oftentimes in a business, whether you're doing drop shipping or whether you have an e-commerce business, you need to make a decision between 2 things. And it completely depends on your current situation. So let's say you have a day like this where it's incredibly profitable, right? I mean, you spent $30, you made 1,000. Now the rest of the day, it's not even halfway through the day yet. We may be able to generate more sales, which, can keep this ROAS really high. And so if in your business, you've lost money in the past, your ad spend, maybe campaigns haven't worked, or maybe there's bills or other expenses that you have to put together an order for to get more inventory, whatever the case may be, you have to think about the opportunity cost as well. Because let's say we aggressively scale this budget, right? Let's say we do 100% scale, right, to 250 a day, and let's say we start scaling, and in this case, it's kind of hard to lose money today in any means. But if we look at the entire campaign, right, so we start on the 19th, and now it's the 27th, and it's been a roller coaster, right? We've had goose egg days, but we're sitting at around 3.69 ROAS, which is really, really good. I'd like it to be above 4. We have pretty high standards of what we want to achieve with these ads. But, in anyone's eyes, 3.69 ROAS on a campaign is extremely good. Most of the time, if you're above a 1.8 to 2.5 ROAS, like, you're looking really good, depending on the product and costs and all that stuff broken down, making sure you understand your break-even ROAS. With late attribution on the other campaign, we're at 4.44 ROAS with 25 sales, right? In this case, we may look at the whole campaign and look, okay, we're at this ROAS, and maybe the ROAS isn't as high as you want it to be across the entire campaign. You have to think about, if you scale this campaign because it has one good day, what's going to happen to your overall profitability on the entire campaign? So you have to take that in consideration, because if scaling it and you going and potentially not getting any more sales in the day, right, which could happen, are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to be okay if you, let's say have $250 in sales and you want to scale your budget to $250 and you end up not even selling any more than what you've already converted, right? So it's important to consider these things, because, sometimes it's better to just leave the budget as is. Now, it really just depends on how aggressive you want to scale, how aggressive you want to grow, because at the end of the day, even if we keep the same budget right now, we're still going to keep getting conversions. And this budget has gotten us kids conversions, so you could keep it the same. So if you want to play it the safe route, you could just run the campaign at this budget, seems to be working really well, and just see how long it can ride out. Because really, in most TikTok campaigns, in the life cycle of a campaign, usually about 1 to 2 weeks is when they start to create a fatigue, which basically means that over the course of 2 weeks, we start to see creative performance drop off. Right now, we're on day 8, or coming into day 8, I think. I guess we are on day 8. And it's important to consider that, right? Because right now we're thinking about scaling on day 8, and the life cycle of a campaign we can typically see last about 8 to 14 days normally. Some campaigns will run for 21 days. Some campaigns can run for up to a month if it's really, really good, but typically that's really what you're looking at. So in this case, and for this purpose of this video, I'm going to scale this campaign to see what we can can do. But in some cases, if I'm looking at the entire campaign and I'm wanting to maintain this certain average ROAS, maybe the previous days didn't go that well, then I might just keep the same budget. But I want to show you guys scale a little bit here and see if we can kind of generate some similar results with a bit more of a budget. So with that said, we're going to scale this. So we're going to go and do 100% scale. Now, before we actually do that, I want to look at one last thing with you guys. Like, where are the actual sales coming from? Like, what are we looking at in terms of distribution of sales from what ads? So let's first look at ad text. What are we getting most of the conversions for? Oh, can't do that. So I got to do 19 through. Let's see. Okay, add text. All right, so we got most of the budget going to 1.2 billion color combos. We have 7 conversions on this. CPA is kind of high. So what I'm noticing here is this new text that we did, I'm potentially thinking that it tracks people to click, but it doesn't have a very good conversion ratio. Because if I'm looking at this text, this is kind of part of testing, right? The free display plus travel case delivery order, this really shows like intent, right? Like it's intent to buy. With 1.2 billion color combos, this more spikes curiosity, not necessarily pushes a sale, and the data backs that up. So although it gets sales, it's not as good as the other one, and this one has none, right? And CTR, we still have this one as the highest CTR. So it's a proven, previous text that's worked well for us, that's converting quite well, and yeah, that looks good. So let's have a look at the content or the ads. So if we look at, let's look at custom columns, and let's add complete payment ROAS and value per event, total value, and confirm. So we have 7 ad creatives. Now you'll see distribution. We have this video here, mouse clickers POV, 5.17 ROAS. We have a 3.32 on the stair stack, 3.52 on this one. So these 3 ads are the ones that are converting the best. And you can see that this one right here, the 3.32, has the highest value per complete payment. So this ad right here, we hope, is putting most of its spend to. But the other thing we have to look at here is the conversions. We got 2, 8, and 8. Now, what I want to be able to see is today's, but when you do this in here, you can't actually see the same day unless you actually click today. So let's see what the distribution is today. Okay, so we've got the mouse clicks and then the ASMR review. So let's see what we're looking at. Okay, 65 and 82 ROAS on these 2 ads, which is kind of crazy. So these 2 ads, this one seems to have conversions on previous days, and we can see that, the ad spend's actually being distributed between these 4 ads, which are the ones that have sales. So the Smart Performance campaign is doing what it's meant to, and it'd be really interesting to see how the rest of the day plays out. Because if we look at distribution of spend, it's actually pretty evenly split up between these 4 ads. Let's just have a look at previous days where we had the ads that didn't generate us any results. So the 26th, we got 2 sales. You can see most of the ad spend went to this top one here, and then some of these got a bit of spend. But let's see, I would bet that some of these lower ones yesterday got sales because they have more spend today. So let's see if that's true. No, it's not actually. This one still got more spend. Very interesting. Okay, this one got more spend. Let's see what the 25th was like. I don't think we got any sales on the 25th. Maybe it was the 24th. And let's see the budget allocation here. So 1 on the stair stack, and distribution of spend, we got about 50-50, right? Because this one's had sales before. Let's look at the 24th. And you can see that these ones down here, this one here doesn't get as much spend. So you can see how the Smart Performance, it kind of like tries to see how different ads will perform. So we got a distribution of spend here. This one wasn't spending a lot, which got sales recently. And this is where we had 0. Okay, so 0 sales on this day with the stair stack spending the most. And the day before, let's see if the stair stack got sales, which pushed it to the highest cost or biggest budget. So breaking this stuff down is important. You want to be able to analyze and look at like how things are performing and just start to understand why things do what they do. It's very interesting to look at the day-by-day data on a Smart Performance to see how the algorithm kind of distributes spend. So you can see here, massive majority. So I would assume in this case, I may be wrong again, but this should have the most sales either today or yesterday. So again, still no sales in this one. So it's interesting to see that this ad is still spending a lot, even though it's not getting conversions. But let's see what the first 4 days were like on this one. I'd be very baffled if the stair stack ad doesn't have many conversions across the board because it has spent the most. So I would assume these first 4 days had more sales. Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of something important to note here is when you have an ad that kicks off and starts getting a lot of conversions, it will often carry spend through the next days. Now, if it starts not getting spend, you'll start to see that some of these other ads that get conversions will start kind of moving up the ladder in terms of how the spend's distributed
distributed across all the ads. And so now we can look at, stare stack, crispy ASMR, mouse click POV. Do you still have mouse clicks in stock? If we look at now the last like 3 days, because we can't see the 27th, we can see a whole different distribution of ad spend. So we've got the mouse clickers in 1, stare stack in 2, ASMR, do you still have mouse clicks? And you can see the budget's actually a bit more distributed. And then today we can see ad spend is again kind of distributed somewhat evenly today so far. So I'm really curious to see how this day plays out because these are the ones that have the sales with really, really high ROAS. So this is probably going to have a really big effect on the rest of the day today and also tomorrow. If these 2 ads right here have most of the conversions with the high ROAS, what the smart performance is going to do if we scale this, my prediction is, and you will find out in the next update what actually happens, is because these ads have such high ROAS, these are going to be prioritized in the next few days in ad spend. It may not be the next day, it may just kind of progressively improve or increase spend. You'll notice that these will actually increase spend, I think, the next few days. That's my prediction because we have this data here in this account or in these ads right now. And that's what the beauty of the smart performance is it allows you to run campaigns longer because with creative fatigue, we're not just running them on the top ads or some of the best ads through the entirety of that campaign length, but it's now pulling other ads down below who haven't spent as much that may not be as fatigued and cycling them in to have more of the cost, which helps you keep your performance higher. So hopefully that breakdown helps you guys a little bit understand kind of what we're looking at and really goes into depth a little bit more on all this stuff. Because to be honest, like the reason I'm talking about this stuff is because I haven't seen anyone talking about data and breaking down ad accounts like I'm doing now, because it just baffles me because do people really know what they're doing? Like this is the stuff we do all the time. We're, analyzing data, we're breaking things down, we're trying to understand what's happening. And, by all means, we don't run perfect campaigns every time, but if we can understand the data, it can help us make better decisions. And that's really what I want to teach you guys is making better decisions. You have to be able to make decisions on your own. You don't want to be just making moves based on someone's quote unquote strategy and approach. You want to understand the fundamentals. So what we're going to do is we're going to up this budget and we're going to put it to 250. We're going to see how this actually performs. We're going to crank it. So normally when you scale, you don't want to do any more than 100% of budget. That's just been our rule of thumb. There's maybe a different approach with surf scaling, which we're not going to be doing in this video. But with surf scaling, you still want to be doing 100% of budget increase every few hours, depending on the performance. But for now, we're going to run it 250. We'll see how the rest of the day plays out. May check in later today, depending on how it's doing, or even tomorrow morning, and we'll go from there. So let's do 250 and let's see if we can hold this crazy ROAS. Okay, we are checking in on the 28th of April. This has been a little bit longer than a day or so on the campaign. We can see that we are sitting at 4.26 ROAS on the entire campaign, which is fantastic. We already have a 4 ROAS. We'll see kind of how the next few days goes in holding that. But we had a really successful day yesterday. So let's look at the 27th here and let's have a look at how we did, because this is really the day that we scaled. And look at that. As we can see, 10.7 ROAS. Wow, that's fantastic. These are the kind of results that we love to see. 10.7 ROAS, $215 spent with $2,300 generated, 10 conversions. Right now we're sitting at, let's have a look. On today, we've got 1.642 conversions. So we don't always have the results, getting 10 ROAS every single day. So we'll kind of monitor to see how it goes over the next few days, and we may need to scale back. We're kind of approaching that range of creative fatigue. So what we'll need to do is kind of just monitor to see conversions, monitor to see CPC, how those end up coming through, because the longer this goes along, the higher the CPC is. We'll give it some time. We may need to shut off this campaign and really review the results. So we're over 4.26 ROAS right now. We're well above KPI. So we're looking really strong on this campaign, but we'll have to kind of see how the next few days goes and then also look at late attribution as well after the campaign is off. So far looking pretty solid. We can see from 27th, if we look at our data real quick, let's see where those 10 sales came from. Okay. All right. So we actually had a pretty good distribution between these top 3 ads here. The mouse clickers POV one has actually dropped down a bit, but we can see the spend is, again, as we talked about in the previous update, we are now seeing more distributed spend to these ones as well, and this one now at the top, which is interesting. So we'll have to see how it continues to go, how the distribution of the spend goes between the creatives. So far looking really good for this day, and we've definitely been able to improve the campaign's performance. So we'll check in here soon. All right, so we're checking in on April 29th. We've let the campaign run a little bit longer today to see if we could bring in any sales. Our CPC
CPC today started around $1, so definitely a sign of creative fatigue. It has come down throughout the day though to around 63 cents, which is much better. If you guys remember, we're probably sitting around like 25 to 40 cents CPC. So right now, this is definitely an indication of creative fatigue. So if you start seeing your CPC rise, you've either got ad creatives that are being allocated spend that are being used or that cost more to get clicks, or which is more likely, is the creative fatigue portion, is creators are just not capturing people's attention as much as they did when you started or when you got into the campaign a little bit longer. So with that said, we have 0 conversions today. Now, this is not something where you need to freak out. These happen. What we need to do now is kind of analyze and look at a longer period of time. We don't want to always make decisions on a day-to-day basis. So we want to have a look at like the last couple of days. So we did an update yesterday when it was a little bit earlier in the day. As you can see here, for the past 2 days, we're actually under 1 ROAS, which isn't good. We can see that our average CPC is around 51 cents. And then if we go back to the 27th, which is our really good day, let's see what our daily or our average is over the last 3 days. So we can see 3.93. So not bad by any means, but if we continue going down this route, we may really heavily hurt the winning day we had. And then overall, looking at the campaign, we are pretty deep into the campaign right now. We're about, let's see, 8, 9, 10 days right now into the campaign, which is a pretty decent length of time. So let's see where we're at in terms of the entire campaign at the moment. Okay, so we're sitting at 3.31, which again is good performance. We were over 4, which I would prefer to have kept over 4 or stayed over 4. But in this case, I think that what we're going to do is we're going to scale back a little bit. So I'm going to look at kind of the last, 5 days of data, see what we're looking at in terms of our complete payment ROAS. That is our KPI. We're around 3.5, not too bad. You can see here, we've also got the late attribution from the other campaign. So yeah, since we've been kind of not positive the last 2 days, this is definitely going to be an indication to make some changes. And so what we're going to do now is, because I know we're coming up on a creative fatigue cycle, what we're probably going to do is we're going to probably look at killing the campaign here soon, because we don't want to lose out on all the ROAS we currently have and the profitability we have. Yesterday was 1.64. Today we had 0. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of scale back our budget right here. We're going to go back to around 150 a day. We could scale back to 125, should be about 50 or about 100%. But in this case, we're just going to scale back to 150 and we'll see what happens. And then we'll kind of go from there. Now, the reason behind this is I always like to scale back a little less aggressively than scaling up. I've just found that that works for us, and there's no harm in going back to your previous budget. But I want to try and squeeze as much as I can out of this campaign. And I still have some confidence that we can bring in sales, especially considering, just a few days ago, we had 10 ROAS. So we're going to see how this performs. Now, if for say tomorrow we don't have any sales and we start to get through halfway through the day, afternoon, evening, and we don't have any sales again, then we definitely want to scale back again or look at potentially cutting off the campaign depending on what our CPC is and some of our other metrics. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and set it at 150 and see that a lot of this thing is, understanding the campaigns. I forgot about this actually, which is good to talk about, is you really just have to learn, and it comes a lot through the experience. So as I'm talking through this with you guys, this is what I do all the time. This is what myself and my marketing director and the rest of my team do all the time. We're managing brands. And so you just kind of have to have the experience to understand what you're doing. And I've done my best to be as thorough and detailed as I can, because everyone out there who makes videos on how to run ads, there's certain strategies and structures, but like if you're just following a step-by-step, do this, do that, do this, do that, you're never going to actually learn how to manage your campaigns, because there's always going to be variables at play where you're not really going to be sure what to do and you don't have that person to tell you what to do. So it's important that you understand the fundamentals and understand how to actually make the changes and what you're making those changes for. Let's talk about this for a second. So when you are scaling back, you're not able to scale back to a lower budget than the daily budget amount that you've spent. So you can see that it says you must increase your budget up to at least 105% of your current actual spend. Please set the budget to at least 240 and try again. So you can see here that it's currently set at 225 and the current budget's 250. So it can only be 105% of your total cost for the day. So around 240. Now, once it ticks over to the new day, after midnight, then it will go back down to 0 and you can scale the budget back to the amount that you want it to. So typically that's what I do. do is I'll just, make sure it gets scheduled, one of my team members or myself, once the day crosses over. Typically, you don't really spend a lot during the night hours or the early morning hours. So you can also change it in the morning and see if any sales come through and then scale back. So either way works. But in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to scale it back to around 150 and we'll see how the next day goes. So that is going to conclude this section. Checking in on May 2nd, we are going to be making a decision to make some big changes to this campaign. The last few days, I haven't made a specific update just because the campaign's kind of just been, I would say, dragging along, trying to see if we can get any more life out of the campaign before we turn it off. But unfortunately, right now, we're sitting at 3.62 today, and I think this is about time to turn it off. It's been running for quite a while now. We've been running over 2 weeks, and this is kind of a decision to cut it off today because our current daily ROAS is starting to dip below our average ROAS on the campaign. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit more of a breakdown and kind of break all this down and help understand like what happened a little bit more. We've obviously talked about things over the last couple of weeks and how that has gone, but we have run this campaign, I think exactly 2 weeks actually, and we're going to be talking about this campaign. But this campaign looks like we're sitting at 3.58 right now with 41 conversions. We've done just under $10,000 with a late attribution, so 4 ROAS with this old campaign, which is pretty typical every time we run a new campaign. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn this off. The last few days we didn't scale it again, we just scaled it back down, we kept it back at scale, and sometimes campaigns do that, so you just got to kind of watch it and monitor it. We'll definitely make another like heavy scaling video where we aggressively scale and show you guys how to do that, and also incorporate surf scaling. So if you want to see a video like that, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment that you'd like to see that more aggressive scaling. So let's go ahead and turn this off, and that's going to conclude this campaign. So the next stage, the next update you're going to get is giving us a few days or so to see late attribution. So what that is basically sales being attributed to this particular campaign after it's turned off because they saw an ad or clicked on the ad from this specific campaign. So we're going to look at that here in a few days as well. So we'll check in then. All right, guys, here we are. We're going to be checking in on our results for the SP19 campaign. Really excited to see and show you guys how everything's gone. I know that we ended off on the last campaign at around 3.58 ROAS, which was really great. Wish it was a little higher, but we still got some really good results. What you can see here too, we are currently on May 8th. So you guys have been following on the journey and we've been documenting this whole entire process. We really hope that it's been valuable for you guys. I really wanted to make content that is just really in depth and transparent and, just authentic. And that's like my number one goal, is just to be real and show you guys like the whole process. So, these videos take a lot of time to make. So if you could let me know what you think of these and if you like them, please let me know down below, and any feedback and any other video ideas you have for me that I can make for you. But let's go ahead and look at what I ended up doing for this campaign with the late attribution. So you can already see today we have 2 late attribution sales from this campaign, which is really cool to see. I told you guys we would get some late attribution, and that's due to that attribution window that we have set on the campaign. So we can see that we got around $310 in extra sales today. And let's see what we have from the 19th, which we started the campaign, to the 8th. Let's see what we ended at. All right, look at that. 3.84, really nice. Just shy of 4 ROAS on this campaign. We spent around $2,400. We generated $9,250-ish. And even with the late attribution on our last campaign, we had 48 sales as well, with $10,000 in sales with 4.25. So pretty solid results. This is basically, I think we had 4 sales come in after the fact, which is late attribution. And this is kind of the name of the game. This is what happens. And, if you guys are looking to basically run your own campaigns, this is something you should expect. You're spending a decent amount of money and you've got your attribution window all the way open. This is going to allow you to kind of have, all that pull through and get some late attribution. So one of the big lessons I want to share with you guys here from this campaign is not everything always goes to plan. And sometimes when you're trying to scale, you need to kind of be observant of what's happening on the ad account. So during this whole process, when we reflect on this entire last 2-3 weeks of running this campaign, we did scale back and we also scaled up. But you saw that at some point we scaled back and we ended up, coming back and getting more results. We scaled up at one point and, we didn't hold KPIs. And so, normally when stuff like this happens, we want to go in and like analyze and see like what ads, have done the best and what haven't done the best. So if we have a look and we open up and just, take a gander at what ads were getting the best, then we can basically take the same ads and then use them in, say a next campaign, or we could basically say, okay, this campaign did really well. Let's go back and actually look at how we could recreate these in another campaign, right? So that's something that we're going to look for, and that's what you can do in the post campaign side of things. So if we come back over here and we look at like what got the conversions here, we've got a lot here for the stair stack. We got, do you have mouse clicks in stock? You know, these two videos here seem to get most of the sales, which, you know, was brought in, which is very interesting because, you know, these were just kind of some other random ones that we threw in the mix. So let's see.
Okay, buddy. What in the world did you do? A little retro PS5 vibes. All right, that's cool.
So basically go through and just kind of show controllers on the stairs and then showcase like all the different designs, right? So like this is a great way of just showcasing like the products that you have in kind of a funny way. And another one that did really well was this one as well.
Yes, they are still in stock. Even though we used the controllers over the holidays, we still have a ton of mouse clicks in stock for you to check out. It is the same technology as this mouse. They sound amazing. You're cranking 90s in Fortnite. There's going to be an event.
Okay, so there's another, you know, just talking about the difference between like the competitive mods and the control with the mouse clicks. So this video also did well. So sometimes like you'll make new creatives and sometimes they won't do the best, you know, like it's okay. You know, like these are creatives that we've gone through the same exact process that we did earlier in this video. We actually made them with you and then we ran them as ads. And that is an important part of just kind of learning and evolving, is you'll kind of have, you know, ad creatives that you'll make, you'll test them and see, does this type of one work or does it not work? And sometimes you'll even make the same creatives and they won't work the same way they did before. And this could come down to, you know, is the offer the same? Is it a holiday season? Is there a certain part of that was like maybe trending? There's lots of different facets to what videos do well and what videos don't. And it's just a matter of continuing to make good creative and following that ad structure that we have basically laid out for you guys throughout this video. So let's have a look at the ad text because I'm really curious to see our ad text conversion. Which one did the best? Okay, so we've got the free display and travel case with every order is the best one. 23 conversions. We had a $36 CPA. And if we have a look at our custom columns here, we can add in complete payment ROAS. Let's see what our complete payment ROAS was. I think maybe similar for top bottom. Yeah, look, 5.74 on this one with this text. So all the ads that had this text had the higher ROAS. This one had 5.12. So this one here did not convert as well. So we're going to cycle that out in the next campaign and try something else and iterate on this one because this one converted the best. So it's kind of like you create these cycles. So this whole cycle that we've gone through together, repeat this cycle. Now we're going to reset. We're going to make another campaign. We're going to take all the information that we have from this one and see if we can make it even better. And that's the goal. Is it's not just about making a new campaign and throwing some other ads in there. It's like you've got to learn how to build upon the skills and the knowledge you have from the previous campaign and channel into the next. That's how we were able to build so much momentum with GameNetics. We were able to do $750,000 in 3 months. And we were able to do months where, you know, we show you guys like, you know, if I just go back and show you what we did in the 3 months before things got kind of crazy, you know, November through January, right here on TikTok, like we really learned how to scale and we really did everything that we've done in this video with you guys. This is exactly what we did to do $270,000 in sales with 8.31 ROAS average between November, December, and January, average across all of our campaigns with $32,000 ad spend. So we put in $32,000 in ad spend and made $270,000 in revenue. This is all possible by following this exact video, by implementing the strategies, continuing to get better. I'm sure you guys will have plenty of questions. Please let me know down below any feedback, any thoughts on how we can make this better, what we can share with you guys, and how this has been valuable because this has taken a lot of time to make. So please let me know down below what your thoughts were, how this video has gone, and then any other additional video ideas or questions you have that I can make videos around to help you guys run profitable TikTok ads. And I really just want to show you guys that using TikTok ads, organic, and also TikTok Shop, which I have a few videos coming with TikTok Shop soon, that it's just crazy how easy it is to make money with TikTok. So thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you hanging around and watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next video.